even a low amount of suspicion, we would divert them from their travel and they would be transported securely, not through the general airport, to a hospital.
CDC began screening passengers traveling from Wuhan to San Francisco, LAX in Los Angeles, and New York's JFK last week. Federal judge is siding with the Chicago Public Schools in a 2012 class action lawsuit over allegations of discriminatory layoffs. The suit was filed by the Chicago Teachers Union on behalf of 630 black educators who were among nearly 1,500 CPS employees laid off in the summer of 2011. Judge ruling the decisions were fair. The union said the layoffs disproportionately hurt teachers of color at schools on the city's south and west sides with failing enrollment. A Wheaton man is accused of driving high on marijuana when he crashed this week in Lisle. Cole Dixon crossed over into oncoming traffic. Police say he slammed into a vehicle head-on near Route 53 and Main Street Monday night. Although there were no serious injuries, the 20-year-old was charged with misdemeanor counts of DUI, unlawful possession of cannabis, and improper lane usage. Authorities will likely subpoena his blood test results to confirm he was driving high. He failed a test given by police. Chicago Fire Department paramedic recovering following a hit-and-run crash involving an ambulance on the west side. It happened yesterday as that ambulance was struck by a Toyota on South California Avenue, and that driver in that Toyota took off following the crash. Illinois Health Care Manufacturing Company temporarily closed, forced to do so by the state because the state says it can't meet the new standards for ethylene oxide. Medline Industries in Waukegan is in the process of completing what they call $10 million in upgrades designed to bring the plant into compliance with state law. That facility closed about a month ago. Chicago-based aircraft giant Boeing doesn't expect federal regulators to approve its updates to its grounded 737 MAX until later this summer, several months longer than Boeing predicted late last year after two deadly crashes. Macon County, Illinois officials are trying to determine if a non-citizen voted in the 2018 election. Secretary of State's office says a glitch with the electronic keypads in the office inadvertently, they say, registered 547 people who identified as non-citizens and identified them later as voters. One of those people voted in the 2018 election in Macon County, where the sheriff's race was won by one vote. Illinois Congressman Adam Kinzinger is currently serving as a lieutenant colonel in the Air National Guard. He announced yesterday that the congressman has been sent on missions in the U.S. over the weekend. Tweet stating the congressman's office in both Illinois and D.C. are being staffed and updated, and he is being updated while he is away. Kinzinger is a reconnaissance pilot in the Air National Guard. Thomas Railsback, an Illinois Republican congressman who helped draw up articles of impeachment against President Richard Nixon in 1974, has died at the age of 87. Former Republican congressman died in Mesa, Arizona. He represented the 19th District for 16 years. Well, the Blackhawks tangled with the Panthers at the United Center last night, but they also tangled a bit with their emotions as fans roared their approval for the return of the Stash. Joe Quenneville made his return to Chicago as coach of the Florida Panthers. After winning 3 Stanley Cups with the Blackhawks, Q was given a 2-minute video tribute by his former team.
It was kind of like, saying thank you to me, and I was thanking them, and it was, it was all good. So it was, felt great, and, it was made a little interesting at the end of the game, but that was certainly a memorable event that I'm thankful for.
However, fans watching on TV didn't even see the start of that tribute as NBC Sports Chicago was running commercials. They apologized, but ironically, Fox Sports Florida, broadcasting the Panthers game, ran the entire tribute. And Q, I'm sure they still have a booth reserved for you at Pages in Hinsdale. Blackhawks rally from a 3-0 deficit, still fell to the Panthers 4-3 at the UC. 5-game winning streak coming to an end. How about that Fighting Illini basketball team? Kofi Cockburn, 22 points, 15 boards. As 22nd ranked Illinois rampage past Purdue, 79-62 in West Lafayette. Illinois jumping to 14-5 overall, 6-2 in the Big Ten. Northwestern had a double-digit lead at halftime, but still fell to number 17 Maryland, 77-66, and our Northern Illinois Huskies knocked off Kent State. The news service of Upwork, with the latest and largest network of independent professionals like developers, data scientists, you name it. They're proven, rated, and reviewed. So when you need in-demand talent, on demand, Upwork is now. 5:08 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager is impressed with the president's record.
The list is extraordinary. Judges, Supreme Court justices, domestically, internationally, the economy, the unemployment rate. It's quite remarkable when you think about it. No one predicted this. I sit in awe of what he has accomplished.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Stop wasting energy. There's a better way. Your company could be receiving energy efficiency incentives by recycling waste heat from on-site power generation equipment and turning it into useful energy. The federal government is pushing utility companies to be more efficient. In turn, utility companies are offering incentives for your business. Charles Equipment can help get you up and running with cogeneration, also known as CHP, Combined Heat and Power, a clean and efficient way to generate heat and power. CHP systems can supply at least a portion of a building's electrical load and capture waste heat from hot exhaust gases for use in heating, cooling, hot water, and dehumidification. Charles Equipment can install and manage the cogen equipment at your facility and help your energy use become 70 to 90% more efficient. Start making better, more energy efficient decisions and save money in the process. Call Charles Equipment 630-834-6000 or online at charlesequipment.com. Reliable industrial generators. They've got the power.
My name is David Hochberg. Meet Juan, who has heard thousands of Team Hochberg's ads and naturally contacted Rocket Loving Lending to refinance. Juan thought Rocket Loving Lending's closing costs were excessive, so he contacted Team Hochberg for a free consultation. We explained to Juan Rocket Loving Lending's closing costs were almost $15,000. We then quoted a competitive rate with closing costs almost $13,000 less than Rocket Loving Lending. Let's review. Rocket Loving Lending tried overcharging Juan 13 G's for a slightly lower rate. If you want to pay excessive closing costs, call Rocket Loving Lending. Team Hochberg doesn't have a rocket, and we also don't overcharge borrowers to fund a nationwide advertising campaign. If you want to work with a local lender who will always look out for your financial best interest, call Team Hochberg now at 855-56-DAVID. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial Legal Housing Lender and MLS 112-4061.
Now some better news brought to you by Canada Dry. Traffic's the worst, so grab a can of Canada Dry Ginger Ale and imagine instead you're gently floating through the cosmos on a soft, comfy recliner. Next time, relax with the real ginger taste of Canada Dry.
5:11 AM 560 Traffic Center time. And in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center, it's Jim Telemonte.
Expressways and tollways are looking pretty good right now on this Wednesday morning. Inbound Eisenhower, the ramp to the outbound ride is set to reopen after an overnight closure. The main lanes of the Eisenhower look good. No issues at all on the Edens. Overnight works wrapping up on the Kennedy, including a couple of ramp closures downtown, building on ramps at Lake Street at Madison. Stevenson is fine, so is the Ryan. No delays to report on I-57, Bishop Ford Freeway, or Lakeshore Drive. Some morning work on the Tri-State wrapping up northbound from St. Charles to North Avenue, southbound from Hinsdale Oasis to 75th. The other tollways look good. Northwest Indiana right now is clear. That's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. In our 1 hour heating and air conditioning weather center, here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Some sun to start things off, then increasing cloudiness today, high 34. Tonight, clouds and some snow late, little or no accumulation, low 28. Snow tomorrow morning, followed by some rain in the afternoon, the high at 34. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
25 at O'Hare, 25 Lakefront, and 23 this morning in Aurora. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of nature. changing the world one life at a time.
I'm very, very athletic. I play ice hockey 2 or 3 days a week. I'm in good shape for my age. I keep up with the young kids, but, I get tired, muscles get sore, I'm achy. So I noticed just by taking this product for a month, I'm not as tired as I used to be or fatigued. Muscles feel good. I feel like my stamina is better than it was. I just feel better than I did, and I wasn't really complaining before.
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Are you plagued by persistent floaters in your vision? Floaters are the moving cobwebs, strands, or veils seen when you look at a computer screen or a light-colored background. They range in size and shape from tiny dots to large veils and vary in severity from a minor annoyance to a substantial visual impairment. There is now a safe and effective treatment to eliminate persistent visual floaters called YAG vitriolysis. It's covered by most health insurance companies. Very few eye surgeons perform this procedure. Dr. Harry Bernstein of the Elgin Eye Clinic is an expert in evaluating and treating eye floaters with a laser specifically designed to eliminate floaters. This brief and painless procedure is performed right in the office. If you're bothered by significant floaters, call Dr. Bernstein now to schedule a free floater evaluation. Call 636-535-2020. That's 636-535-2020 or schedule online at elgineye.com. That's Elgin, E-Y-E, elgineye.com.
If you have pain, I hope you listen up. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You do not have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of the side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you could be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com.
Do your employees complain about your 401k program? Has it been more than 6 months since your 401k advisor provided a plan review? Well, the 401k experts at Clear Financial Strategies offer ways to make your plan better. Internal company surveys show significant increases in employee 401k satisfaction after the fiduciary advisors at Clear Financial Strategies enter the scene. Clear Financial Strategies uses a process to help streamline enrollment, education, investment selection, and more that will free up time for human resources and restore employee confidence in their 401k plan. Additionally, because Clear Financial Strategies does not accept commissions or other conflicts of interest, your employees tend to see better account results due to lower costs and greater efficiencies. Go to clearfinancialstrategies.com to learn more about the firm. Then call Alan Broughton direct at 815-788-6092 to schedule a free, no-obligation appointment. Again, that's 815-788-6092, clearfinancialstrategies.com.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. How did you enjoy day one of the trial of the century? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
It just ended.
It was dominated by a lot of perfunctory motions that were swatted away. And, of course, the opening arguments from the two sides, the House managers, punctuated by Adam Schiff, as you would expect, as well as Trump's legal defense team. I would say equally punctuated by Jay Sekulow and Pat Cipollone.
Jay Sekulow, though, he's the star in this. He's really good. I mean, Pat's good, but Jay Sekulow, I think, he brings it more. You know what I mean?
No. But okay.
Yeah. He's more assertive. He's more spicy. I mean, you know, he was there at 12:43 this morning screaming. And it got not screaming, but, you know, him and Nadler got into it so bad that Justice Roberts had to remind people where we are and how we need to behave.
I think it is appropriate at this point for me to admonish both the House managers and the President's counsel in equal terms to remember that they are addressing the world's greatest deliberative body. One reason it has earned that title is because its members avoid speaking in a manner and using language that is not conducive to civil discourse. I don't think we need to aspire to that high a standard, but I do think those addressing the Senate should remember where they are.
And that was right before 2 a.m. And then everyone, you know, these people are old, Dan, staying out till 2 a.m. On a school night and then having to get back up. You know, I mean, they get to sleep in a little bit today, but it's a lot to ask for.
Well, that wasn't the real moment.
No.
Roberts admonishing both sides over their salty language.
Oh, you have something else I missed?
The real moment was when all of the senators were told the following.
The bumps you feel are asteroids smashing into the hull of this ship. Also, we're flying without a navigational system and can't seem to change course.
Miss, are you telling us absolutely everything?
Not exactly. We're also out of coffee.
They can't have coffee.
No, they can only have milk.
Snacks.
No snacks, just milk and water. So when they take these 15-minute breaks that turn into 45-minute breaks, they need to get food and they have to have their Jell-O.
Yeah, well,
they're very old.
It prepares many of them for life in prison, which is where most of them deserve to end up. But that's all right. So anyway, here's some of the lowlights from Adam Schiff's arguments. And again, I love the forget everything that has happened up to this point. Just sort of some of the baselines of Schiff's argument. You know, the suspension of disbelief you must indulge in order to find any shred of credibility with what he has to say. Forget everything that's happened up until right now when I took to the podium. Forget what the House did. Forget applying the standards I think should be applied to the Senate, or the Senate should apply to themselves. Forget thinking about the standards the House applied to themselves under the leadership of Nancy Pelosi. Just forget that all. Sit back and remember, you know, who you are and what you must do in the face of what we have, and don't ask a lot of questions. Don't ask a lot of questions.
No.
When the founders wrote the impeachment clause, they had precisely this type of misconduct in mind. Conduct that abuses the power of his office for personal benefit, that undermines our national security, that invites foreign interference in our democratic process of an election. It is the trifecta of constitutional misconduct justifying impeachment.
The trifecta, so that's Article 1, that's the abuse of power article, and Jay Sekulow responded right on point to the trifecta. You want to talk about trifectas? How about this trifecta?
Mr. Schiff also talked about a trifecta. I'll give you a trifecta.
Yeah,
During the proceedings that took place before the Judiciary Committee, the president was denied the right to cross-examine witnesses. The president was denied the right to access evidence. And the president was denied the right to have counsel present at hearings. That's a trifecta. A trifecta that violates the Constitution of the United States.
Back to Schiff as to Article 2, obstruction of Congress.
In Article 2, the president is charged with other misconduct that would likewise have alarmed the founders. The full, complete, and absolute obstruction of a co-equal branch of government, the Congress, during the course of its impeachment investigation into the president's own misconduct. This is every bit as destructive of our constitutional order as the misconduct charged in the first article. If a president can obstruct his own investigation, if he can effectively nullify a power the Constitution gives solely to Congress, indeed the ultimate power the Constitution gives to prevent presidential misconduct, then the president places himself beyond accountability, above the law. Cannot be indicted, cannot be impeached. It makes him a monarch, the very evil against which our Constitution and the balance of powers it carefully laid out was designed to guard against.
Yeah, so Schiff doesn't believe in asserting executive privilege. I mean, now he doesn't. And this is the obstruction of Congress because the president went to court. Adam Schiff doesn't believe in courts. This was the point that both Cipollone and Sekulow made. Jay Sekulow reminds us, though, there was a time some years ago under a different administration when Adam Schiff did believe in executive privilege and did believe in the executive's right to assert that privilege and have the matter litigated in a court of law if the opposing party so chose.
On June 28, 2012, Attorney General Eric Holder became the first United States Attorney General to be held in both civil and criminal contempt. Why? Because President Obama asserted executive privilege. With respect to the Holder contempt proceedings, Mr. Manager Schiff wrote, "The White House assertion of privilege is backed by decades of precedent that has recognized the need for the president and his senior advisors to receive candid advice and information from their top aides." Indeed, that's correct. Not because Manager Schiff said it, but because the Constitution requires it.
Now, and I don't want to get into pettifogging here because
pettifogging.
Justice Roberts specifically cited that word as
that was the name of your junior high band.
That's indicative of uncivil discourse from the 1905 Swain trial that you'll recall the Supreme Court adjudicated based on a lack of due process.
I was going to tell you about that.
Yeah, so no pettifogging here.
No pettifogging, absolutely not.
This is not that, but I do need to go to one of the other motifs in Schiff's offerings yesterday.
Yeah.
Which was the evidence is overwhelming. This is the guy. The evidence is overwhelming. This is one of their pat lines, just as they were saying the evidence is overwhelming during the Mueller investigation, and then it turned out to be quite underwhelming. Pat Cipollone, White House counsel, took up the overwhelming assertion.
We hear all this talk about an overwhelming case that they're not even prepared today to stand up and make an opening argument about. That's because they have no case. Frankly, they have no charge. When you look at these articles of impeachment, they're not only ridiculous, they are dangerous to our republic. And why? First of all, the notion that invoking your constitutional rights to protect the executive branch, that's been done by just about every president since George Washington, that is obstruction. That is our patriotic duty, Mr. Schiff, particularly when confronted with a wholesale trampling of constitutional rights that I'm unfamiliar with in this country. Frankly, it's the kind of thing that our State Department would criticize if we see it in foreign countries.
Let's go to the lines, take a couple calls. Philip in Blue Island, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. My question is this. If the Senate comes around to finding that some of the things the president did was wrong, like the phone call wasn't perfect and the holding back of evidence and witnesses and so forth and so on, other than removing him from office, is there any other penalty that the Senate can render that would at least stop other presidents from doing anything close to this?
Not in this context. This is an impeachment proceeding, so the charge has been leveled, and now they're litigating the charge. So he's either acquitted or convicted. Convicted, he's removed. Acquitted, he's not. Now, they could have, the House, the Senate could move a censure resolution separate and distinct from this, but they have chosen not to do that, obviously the House being the moving party.
They don't only want to take him out of office, they want to disqualify him from ever running for office again.
Well, okay. I mean, was there another office he was planning on running
No,
for?
well, I don't know, but I'm just saying they want to, stick the nail in the coffin.
They want to take. It is noteworthy.
Make sure he doesn't run for any federal office ever again. So they want to vote to impeach, and then that on top of it.
What's noteworthy is, and this was pointed out, I think, by Cipollone, that there is a provision in the Articles of Impeachment. They want him removed from the ballot for 2020. They want to remove his name removed from ballots across the nation for 2020. Tony on the south side.
Good morning, Dan, and Amy, my lammy lamb. Hey, Amy, you said that secular was spicy. You know what? I was at a Moroccan restaurant yesterday, and my secular wasn't that spicy. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that, my friends,
too much MSG, probably.
Right, and that, my friends, is how serious I take this whole impeachment farce.
All right.
You guys have a good day.
Thanks, Tony. Nick in Northwest Indiana.
Yeah.
Hey, good morning.
Morning, Nick.
How you
Go
guys
ahead.
doing today?
Good.
Hey, I was watching this stand-up comedy show called An Impeachment Trial, and the one thing I realized watching Schiff's mannerisms is I don't think Andy Kaufman's dead. I think he came back as Adam Schiff, and it's his greatest character ever.
It's not bad, Nick.
Thanks.
Thanks for the call. We'll take more of your calls after Mike Scott's news.
Yeah, but now let's head into the newsroom. Here he is. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Amy and Dan, good morning. I'm doing well. And the Senate will get a few more hours of sleep and then continue today after yesterday's marathon session that ran well after 1 a.m. White House counsel Pat Cipollone saying the roadmap lays out a fair process for the impeachment trial.
It is modeled on the Clinton resolution, which had 100 senators supporting it the last time this body considered an impeachment.
Adam Schiff, who made the case for House managers, says senators should have agreed to additional witnesses and documents.
The oath requires you to do impartial justice, which means to see the evidence. That's all we're asking. Just don't blind yourself to the evidence.
Later, the Senate voted down a Democrat proposal to subpoena former National Security Advisor John Bolton to testify in the impeachment trial. The vote along party lines, Republicans rejecting the move 53-47. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, presiding over the Senate impeachment trial, was forced to intervene in a heated exchange between Democrat manager Jerry Nadler and White House counsel Cipollone.
I do think those addressing the Senate should remember where they are.
It was Nadler who accused Senate Republicans of wanting to participate in a cover-up by blocking additional witnesses and documents. The impeachment trial is forcing the cancellation of a big rally for Democrat presidential candidate Bernie Sanders in Iowa. Sanders saying he'd much rather be campaigning.
We had some great rallies in New Hampshire the other day, just in Iowa yesterday. But I have a constitutional responsibility to be here, and I'll do my best in terms of the impeachment trial.
Sanders' campaign confirming the rally will not be held, but he is sending in AOC on Friday. More American troops are undergoing treatment after Iran's missile attack on bases earlier this month in Iraq. The Pentagon saying the service members are heading to a military hospital in Germany. Did not say how many, but they're being treated for concussion-related symptoms. More cases of Wuhan coronavirus spreading across mainland China. Country's National Health Commission announcing 440 have been sickened. The death toll has gone up to at least 9. And screenings are beginning here in the Chicago area for the coronavirus at O'Hare.
There's any concern that they have a cough or a fever, even a low amount of suspicion, we would divert them from their travel and they would be transported securely, not through the general airport, to a hospital.
Chicago Public Health Commissioner Dr. Allison Arwady. Chicago Fire Department paramedic recovering this morning after a hit-and-run crash involving an ambulance on the west side. The ambulance was heading south yesterday when it was struck by a Toyota in the 700 block of South California Avenue. Then that Toyota took off. U.S. Representative Bobby Rush is throwing his support behind former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg for president. Chicago Democrat endorsing Bloomberg yesterday, becoming the fourth House lawmaker to do so. Blackhawks rally from a 3-0 deficit but still fell to the Panthers at the UC. 4-3, saw their 5-game winning streak come to an end ahead of the All-Star break. 22nd ranked Illinois, the strong second half, surging past Purdue in West Lafayette, 79-62. Northwestern had a double-digit lead at halftime, but crumbled in the second half, falling to Maryland, 77-66. Baseball's Hall of Fame announcing 2 new members in its class of 2020. Former Yankee shortstop Derek Jeter, former Montreal Expo and St. Louis Cardinal Larry Walker. Oh, yeah, he played for the Colorado Rockies, but we all know him as a Montreal Expo. The news is a service of Indeed.com. And at 5:33, we'll have a check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity doesn't see much difference in the Democratic frontrunners.
You got Bernie Sanders now. Volunteers are being told to zero in on the weaknesses of fellow socialist Elizabeth Warren. My personal opinion is there's not really a dime's worth of difference between the two of them. They're both radical, extreme, left-wing socialists that want Medicare for all and would want the Green New Deal.
The Sean Hannity Show, afternoons at 2, right before Steve Cortez at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Is a home renovation on your New Year's resolution list? It's hard to know who you can trust when remodeling your home. How can you tell if you're going to get your dream project or become one of those bad remodeling stories? Advanced Design Studio thinks remodeling shouldn't be painful. If you're nervous about home remodeling, Advanced Design is the company to call to overcome your fears. Providing positive remodeling experiences for nearly 30 years, their common sense remodeling, design, and build process makes remodeling predictable, averting delays and preventing budget overruns to produce a rewarding remodeling experience. So if 2020 includes a new kitchen or bath, a finished basement, or a much-needed addition to your home, make this the year you get the home of your dreams without the headache. Visit the team at AdvancedDesignStudio.com to learn more. That's AdvancedDesignStudio.com or call 847-836-2600. That's 847-836-2600.
Famous conservative quotes, presented by Automated Systems.
The late, great Winston Churchill said, "You will never reach your destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks." Pretty wise words considering all of the distractions in modern society.
Manufacturing companies, I encourage you to call my friend Laz Kulchar from Automated Systems. Automated Systems is a software and systems integration company that specializes in companies that are required to meet FDA compliance requirements. Automated Systems will create a custom solution for your business that will make your production lines, facilities, and plants run more efficiently. Imagine less downtime, more speed, and fewer rejects. From Fortune 500 to startup, ASI delivers solutions for your toughest automation challenges. For information, I encourage you to talk to Laz at Automated Systems. Call 844-HIRE-ASI or visit hireasi.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI, 844-HIRE-ASI, or online at hireasi.com.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
5:36, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Jim Telemonte.
We're seeing delays right now on the inbound Ryan and the outbound Kennedy through downtown Chicago. There was a crash at Lake Street. That has cleared now, but we are looking at delays starting around Roosevelt Road on the inbound Ryan and continuing to Lake Street downtown. Other than that heavy pocket, Kennedy and the Ryan are okay. We see no issues at all on the Edens right now. The Eisenhower's fine. Stevenson, traffic starting to build a little bit around Cicero, but we don't have any significant delays yet. I-57 looks good. Bishop Ford getting a little tight approaching the merge. Tollway traffic is light right now. No problems to report in northwest Indiana. There is still flooding at Willow Springs affecting Archer at 83 at Willow Springs Road. That's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. We'll have some sun later today. Clouds will be on the increase through the afternoon, though. High 34. Little snow late. No accumulation or little accumulation in the forecast. Overnight, low 28. 25 at O'Hare. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kobaba. Every Saturday morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and I got to sympathize with like our friend Tony from the South Side, who basically can't keep any interest level in yesterday's proceedings or the proceedings going forward. It was difficult, especially.
Wasn't it hard?
I mean, last night I went to the Hawks game because Coach Q was in town.
I heard, and then Patrick Kane was honored for his 1,000th point.
Yeah, it was great, and it was a great ovation for Coach Q.
I think he got a bigger ovation than Patrick Kane did, don't you?
No,
or was it
no
different on TV than it was in person?
It was extended though, and frankly, they had video. I don't know if this was on TV, but they had video of all like Coach Q highlights too. So it was a whole setup thing, and the Hawks players and everybody stopped, and it was great. And I think it probably made Coach Q feel a little bit better. Not just about being fired, but about the bath he must have taken on that home in Hinsdale when he got out of here and got
we'll go
down
over
to
his
Florida.
property taxes later.
But
even the network. So listen, I was watching, on all blah 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 the stations. Took a little nappy noopy in between because it literally put me to sleep because it's the same routine, the same things we've all heard in weeks past. But then after prime time came and everybody cut away from it. Because it lasted until, this is Jerry Nadler at 12:43 this morning. They got out at 2 a.m.
So far, I'm sad to say, I see a lot of senators
sleeping,
voting for a cover-up, voting to deny witnesses.
He said 12 hours
Absolutely
earlier.
indefensible vote. Obviously, a treacherous vote. History will judge, and so will the electorate.
Yeah.
Drop mic.
Yeah, I know. History.
Go get your glass of milk.
They're always invoking history because everybody's always on the right side of it.
But this is pablum that they've been repeating over and over, and they did it 13 hours before.
So there was one rule change that was worth noting yesterday, sort of scrawled on the resolution, Mitch McConnell's resolution.
At the urging of Susan Collins.
The presentation will be over 3 days for each side. They'll do 8-hour sessions, not 12-hour sessions. And in addition to that, the evidence that's part of the House Democrats' record will be entered into evidence. Now, it could always be stricken by senators later on a roll call vote, but it will be entered into evidence.
And then senators are going to vote on witnesses after opening arguments.
Yeah, but that was always part of it.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, if you want to know the rundown.
And so those changes were treated. I saw a little bit of this before I needed a mental health break from it all. They were treated, and by the only person who is semi-serious on CNN, Jake Tapper, they were treated as some sort of bombshell, some sort of indication that perhaps Mitch McConnell doesn't have the control over his caucus, hasn't done the head counting that he normally does, and this is a bit of a surprise. Yeah, maybe it was a bit of a surprise. Maybe Collins and one or two others dug in on this a little bit more. Maybe Mitch McConnell had a change of heart on it as well. It's just like, one more day, 8-hour sessions instead of 12-hour sessions. That's fine. It's not a big deal. But I mean, everything is a bombshell. Everything is a breaking news development. It is the tide is turning. This is now very much just. Everybody get a frickin' grip.
Well, they kept saying because of this now he's going to concede on having witnesses, and John Bolton should get ready to testify. I mean, it was such hyperbole and just exaggeration to the point of nauseum.
And again, Pat Cipollone, White House counsel, continued, made the point a couple of times during his remarks about the overwhelming evidence. The overwhelming evidence that, one, they're not ready to present. Two, they don't have because they want the Senate to have more evidence. And three, they don't want that evidence entered. It's very difficult to keep track of Adam Schiff's logic.
Overwhelming evidence to impeach the President of the United States. And then they come here on the first day and they say, you know what, we need some more evidence. Now, let me tell you something. If I showed up in any court in this country and I said, Judge, my case is overwhelming, but I'm not ready to go yet. I need more evidence before I can make my case. I would get thrown out in 2 seconds. And that's exactly what should happen here. That's exactly what should happen here.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. Bob in Buffalo Grove, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Always good talking to you, Amy and Dan. I watched most of it on and off. My big takeaway, you covered a little bit with Cipollone, but you ought to play a soundbite with regards to trying to overturn the 2016 election, but most importantly, removing Trump from the ballot because they can't win the election in 2020.
Yeah, I mentioned that, but yes, you're right. Thanks for the call, Bob. Appreciate it.
And there was one poignant moment I thought from Jay Sekulow that just really summed up everything.
Why are we here? Are we here because of a phone call? Or are we here before this great body because since the president was sworn into office, there was a desire to see him removed? I remember in the Mueller report, there were discussions about, remember, insurance policies. The insurance policy didn't work out so well. So then we moved to other investigations. I guess you would call it reinsurance or an umbrella policy. And that didn't work out so well. And here we are today.
There's also this, speaking of evidence, here we go again. Adam Schiff may have mischaracterized Parnas evidence, according to documents, Politico reporting. The issue arose when Schiff sent a letter to his partner in crime there, Jerry Nadler.
The Munchkin.
Well, no, I would think that's offensive to Munchkins. Dr. Sardonicus, I think, is what we've gone with. Sent a letter to Nadler summarizing a trove of evidence from Lev Parnas, an indicted former associate of Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. In one section of the letter, Schiff claims that Parnas continued to try and arrange a meeting with President Zelensky, and he cited a text message where Parnas tells Giuliani, trying to get us Mr. Z. The remainder of the exchange, which was attached to the Schiff's letter, was redacted. However, an unredacted version of the exchange shows that several days later, Parnas sent Giuliani a Word document that appears to show notes from an interview with Mykola Zlochevsky, the founder of Burisma, followed by a text message to Giuliani that states, Mr. Z answers my brother. That suggests Parnas was referring to Zlochevsky, not Zelensky. Big difference. And Adam Schiff redacted that context, it would appear. But he's an honest broker. And this is a guy who you're going to listen to when he lectures you about oaths and duties and constitutional obligations.
You have all now sworn an oath. Not to each other, not to your legislative leadership, not to the managers or even to the Chief Justice. You have sworn an oath to do impartial justice. That oath binds you. That oath supersedes all else. Many of you in the Senate and many of us in the House have made statements about the president's conduct, or this trial, or this motion, or expectations. None of that matters now. That is all in the past. Nothing matters now but the oath to do impartial justice. And that oath requires a fair trial, fair to the president and fair to the American people. But is that really possible? Or as the founders feared, has factionalism or an excessive partisanship made that now impossible? One way to find out what a fair trial should look like, devoid of partisan consideration, is to ask yourselves, how would you structure the trial if you didn't know what your party was? And you didn't know what the party of the president was?
Is there anything more disgusting, frankly, than listening to Adam Schiff call on our better angels? I mean, this guy lecturing people about their oaths is like Greta Thunberg lecturing you about how you're supposed to love your kids. One other thing he did at the end there that most people won't pick up on because they're not me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Enough about you. What do you think of you?
Did you catch what he did there? The end about one way to assess whether it's a fair trial. So this is the old veil of ignorance paradigm, like advanced by philosophers like John Rawls. The idea is, right, how would you structure society if you didn't know your socioeconomic status, so you didn't know what place you would have in society, and so then not knowing where you would be, you're more inclined to structure a society, the rules of the game, more fairly for fear that you would be on the outside of the power structure rather than the inside if you structured it in a skewed way. So that's what he's saying. But, of course, the rejoinder to Adam Schiff is, okay, that veil of ignorance game that you want to play, apply it to the House. Apply it to how the House handled impeachment. And how would you structure a House impeachment inquiry under a veil of ignorance paradigm? I'd love to get the answer to Schiff for that. Sekulow and Cipollone sort of indicated the infirmities, not sort of, they did indicate the infirmities with the spirit of due process, the political nature of the House process. But I would have loved for somebody to go right back at him, that veil of ignorance argument that he made. Tom and Deer Park, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Oh, good morning, Dan and Amy. I wanted to ask you, it's been about 21 years since the last impeachment. And, at the time, we had TV cameras, and we caught Alan Dershowitz and specifically Lindsey Graham making numerous statements, of which this time around they have taken the exact opposite tact. I guess that's to be...
How's that?
Normal.
How is Alan...
Let me finish my...
How is Alan...
my question?
How has Alan Dershowitz made a statement contrary to the statements he made in '98?
He said that he's changed his view, that he's become more educated. At the time, he was for the impeachment.
He wasn't.
And now he's against it.
He was against the Clinton impeachment.
That's not my understanding.
Yeah.
Perhaps you're right.
Yeah.
Can I
Go
finish
ahead.
the question then?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Lindsey Graham has basically stood on his head, and we have all the visual evidence of that. So my question to you is, do you think we're going to have to wait around for another 21 years to get an impeachment, or will we simply impeach the next president and watch everyone, both sides, Adam Schiff and company included, stand on their head and reverse all their previous things?
Well,
This
right.
is the new norm.
That's the big question. Thanks for the call, Tom. That is the right question about the implications of this impeachment. Well, we already know Adam Schiff's already standing on his head compared to what he said about executive privilege just a few years ago when Eric Holder was held in contempt by Congress. He's taking the exact opposite argument now on executive privilege. Obama asserted executive privilege. It was right and proper. Trump exerting his executive privilege. It's evidence of obstruction of Congress. Those are two mutually exclusive viewpoints on executive privilege. That's number one. Number two, yes, I think in the short to medium term, the question is going to be when Republicans are in control of both chambers and there's a Democrat in the White House, whenever that may come to pass, will they follow the precedent that's been set by House Democrats in the Trump administration, during the Trump administration? Or will they resist the temptation and say that we could be them, they couldn't be us, and we're not going to take this country into that death spiral of continuing to weaponize impeachment and beset the nation when the dynamics provide for it, to put them through trying to remove a president from office from the moment of inauguration if you have the votes to at least pursue it. That's an open question. I don't think anybody knows the answer. I know what I hope the answer is, which is that Republicans take the position that we could be them, but they couldn't be us. But I don't know what the answer is going to be. And certainly the precedent set here by House and to a lesser extent Senate Democrats is not a positive one. Lewis on the South Side.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. I have a comment. My comment is they need to make this disclaimer: for entertainment purposes only. Are you not entertained?
Okay. Nice gladiator reference there, Lewis. Thank you for the call. Dan in Libertyville.
Thanks for taking my call. You know, sometimes I wish we had things back like back when our founders first founded this country. Think of someone like Andrew Jackson. He was told, "Chef, get your gun. It's a duel. Either take back what you said or I'm going to shoot you dead. What do you want to do?"
You mean
That would have
Andrew?
been resolved. And we never would have heard from Schiff again because he'd have kept his measly mouth shut.
So that's one vote to go back to dueling to settle these political disputes. All right, thanks for the call, Dan. Craig in Mount Greenwood.
Hey, Dan and Amy, for these pollsters or commentators who want to know what's going on with the voters out there, which I'm one of them, when these working stiffs come in and want to watch a little TV after a hard day working and everything like that, and we got to take it to be forced this horse shift and everything like that. Okay, so the dumb rats want to take and showcase their hatred, the horse shift for us and everything like that. I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to throw a brick through the TV. They destroy everything they touch. Now they destroy the program and it comes over my TV. They got us ticked off. I'm going to talk to anybody that's questionable about it. These people are nuts. They're taking and destroy everything like they do.
Thanks for the call, Craig. You know, maybe switch from a cold one to a nice Hendrix Martini with a twist. Just relax and take Lewis from the South Side's advice that this is just cheap entertainment, and I do mean cheap.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you plagued by persistent floaters in your vision? Floaters are the moving cobwebs, strands, or veils seen when you look at a computer screen or a light color background. They range in size and shape from tiny dots to large veils and vary in severity from a minor annoyance to a substantial visual impairment. There is now a safe and effective treatment to eliminate persistent visual floaters called YAG vitriolysis. It's covered by most health insurance companies. Very few eye surgeons perform this procedure. Dr. Harry Bernstein of the Elgin Eye Clinic is an expert in evaluating and treating eye floaters with a laser specifically designed to eliminate floaters. This brief and painless procedure is performed right in the office. If you're bothered by significant floaters, call Dr. Bernstein now to schedule a free floater evaluation. Call 636-535-2020. That's 636-535-2020, or schedule online at elgineye.com. That's Elgin, E-Y-E, elgineye.com. Dan Proft here along with Amy Jacobson.
And we wanted to take just a minute to say thank you to each and every one of you who participated in our annual Food for the Poor campaign over the past 6 weeks.
Because of you and your generosity, we were able to raise more than $215,000 to provide food for an entire year for displaced Venezuelan children and their families living in Colombia.
We especially want to thank the many business benefactors who supported this campaign. Now, when you hear their commercials running on this station in the coming months, please support their business as a way of thanking them for their generosity.
Just because the Christmas season is over, that doesn't mean that the need has gone away. You can still make a tax-deductible gift of any amount to Food for the Poor by calling 844-862-4673 or visit 560theanswer.com/food. That's 560theanswer.com/food.
And on behalf of all of us here at AM 560 The Answer and at Food for the Poor, thanks again for your generosity.
Get ready for the Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Squares Sweepstakes, the largest official game of Super Bowl Squares ever with millions of dollars in prizes. And best of all, it's free to enter. Every score change during Super Bowl 54 pays out $50,000. That's right, touchdowns, field goals, safeties, even extra points. We'll draw one lucky winner from the corresponding square to win $50,000. It could be you! Plus, 2 grand prize winners will win $500,000 they could use toward their dream home. One way to enter, 2 ways to win. See rules and enter now at RocketMortgageSquares.com. Then tune in February 2nd to see if you win. Rocket Mortgage, official mortgage sponsor of Super Bowl 54.
No purchase necessary. 18 years or older, except Alabama, Nebraska, and Mississippi. Ends January 30th. Licensed all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. The NFL is not sponsored promotion in any way.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available. For information, visit Illinois Concealed Carry Training online at icct.us. That's icct.us.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The expensive Little Blue pill is now generic, which means the prescription medication to treat ED is super affordable at 4hims.com. And now get your first online doctor's visit free at 4hims.com. That's right. Zero copay, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. That's really good news. To start your free online visit, go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/joy.
Tell me if this is you. There's an outdoor project that you've been wanting to get done, but you just don't have the time or patience to deal with unprofessional contractors. It's a common theme of frustration. You need AM Woodland Outdoor Design for a professional design and a team that will show up on time to get the job done. They'll even let you know throughout the project how everything's going. Imagine that. When you're ready to liven up your curb appeal or completely redesign your outdoor living space, the perfect solution? AM Woodland Design. With so many landscape contractor options to choose from, use a team that shares your values of hard work, honesty, integrity, and patriotism. AM Woodland Outdoor Design proudly sponsors Food for the Poor as a business benefactor and would be honored to work with you.
AM Woodland Outdoor Design, proudly serving Lake, Northern Cook, and Kenosha counties, helping make the communities they grew up in as beautiful as they can be. Visit amwoodland.com, that's amwoodland.com, or call 847-224-2167.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Are we living in Candide? We're going to ask Matt Ridley, contributor to Wall Street Journal, Spectator, London Times, and a member of the House of Lords across the pond at 6:06. And yes, Amy, you can ask him about the royal pains in the ass.
Thank you. And no one likes you and no one wants to work for you. Pulling the scab off an old wound, Hillary Clinton showing how she really feels about Bernie Sanders and then trying to walk it back. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
O'Hare Airport screening passengers for the deadly coronavirus, and an endorsement for Mayor Michael Bloomberg. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
They can't beat him in the election. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump says that's why he is being impeached.
They had no case. It's all a hoax. It's a con job, like Schiff. He's a corrupt politician.
President in Davos, Switzerland, referring to Congressman Adam Schiff, who said during the impeachment trial,
This is the first time aid has been withheld by a president of the United States to coerce an ally at war to help him cheat in the next election.
Now, another House Democrat impeachment manager, Jerry Nadler, said,
I see a lot of senators voting for a cover-up, voting to deny witnesses. An absolutely indefensible vote, obviously.
Well, the president's lead lawyer, Pat Cipollone, countered.
The only one who should be embarrassed, Mr. Nadler, is you, for the way you've addressed this body.
Well, that led to the Chief Justice, John Roberts, admonishing both sides.
I do think those addressing the Senate should remember where they are.
Now, they didn't wrap up until after 1 a.m. They'll resume later today with opening arguments. Each side gets 3 days, give 24 hours of arguments. Now, the president, wrapping up his trip to the World Economic Forum, also just said,
Everyone's talking about America's unprecedented economic success.
A Washington state man's quarantined, but in good condition. The first patient with coronavirus in the U.S. spreading here from China, where it's bad. Fox's Simon Owen has more live.
Dave, China now reporting 9 deaths and 440 infections involving this new flu-like virus. The country's National Health Commission also warning the virus has the potential to mutate. Authorities are issuing an alert in the city of Wuhan, where the outbreak emerged, for people to avoid crowds. This as the UN's health agency meets in Switzerland, the World Health Organization, saying it wants to assess whether the outbreak constitutes an international public health emergency. Dave?
America's listening to Fox News.
25 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560, The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man in critical condition following a shooting that led to a police chase and crash on Chicago's north side. Officers chased that vehicle along the 3300 block of West Armitage Avenue after shots were fired. Chase ended with an arrest and crash near Western and Montrose. O'Hare's set to begin screening for the deadly coronavirus. Chicago Public Health Commissioner Dr. Allison Arwady says travelers from Wuhan, China will be screened for the respiratory virus that has killed at least 9 and infected hundreds more in China.
There's any concern that they have a cough or a fever, even a low amount of suspicion, we would divert them from their travel and they would be transported securely, not through the general airport, to a hospital.
A few hospitals began screening last week: San Francisco, LAX, and JFK in New York. Chicago Fire Department paramedic is recovering following a hit-and-run crash involving an ambulance on the west side. That ambulance was struck by a Toyota in the 700 block of South California. Then the driver of that vehicle took off. Chicago-based aircraft giant Boeing doesn't expect federal regulators to approve updates to its grounded 737 MAX until later this summer, several months longer than Boeing predicted late last year after 2 deadly crashes. U.S. Representative Bobby Rush throwing his support behind former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg for president, the Chicago Democrat endorsing Bloomberg yesterday, the 4th House lawmaker to do so. Blackhawks rally from a 3-0 deficit but fall to the Panthers 4-3 at the United Center. Kofi Coburn, 22 points, 15 big rebounds. And number 22, Illinois surged past Purdue and West Lafayette 79-62 last night. The news service of Upwork. Upwork has the largest network of independent professionals, like developers, designers, data scientists, you name it, and they're proven, rated, and reviewed. So when you need in-demand talent on demand, Upwork is how. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager advises against watching the impeachment trial.
I would not be watching the trial at the Senate. To watch it is to give people who are prepared to ruin this country because they hate this president a credibility and justification, etc.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Networks of the future are here now. Game-changing serverless networks with technology that's finally ready for prime time. Turnkey IT is ready to set up your business, increase productivity, save you money, and a lot of headaches. Imagine not having to purchase or maintain a local server in your building and continue using all the tools you rely on with Microsoft 365. Everything is in one place on the Office 365 cloud platform, with all files and folders stored, backed up, and ready to be shared securely within your organization. Can your business go serverless? Turnkey IT can get you started with a free 5-point assessment to determine if your business qualifies, and it only takes about 2 minutes. Visit turnkey.pro today to speak with one of their team members to find out more and join the growing number of companies using the Microsoft 365 platform now.
Leave the technical stuff to the pros so you can focus on the important things. Visit turnkey.pro today. Turnkey.pro.
Staples has a huge selection of ink and toner in stock at low prices. This week, HP Office Jet Pro cartridges are buy one, get one 30% off. You'll get more for less at Staples. Offer ends 1/25/20. Restrictions apply. See store or staples.com/HPBOGO for details. Staples.
6:07 in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, and here's Jim Telemonte.
Right now, we're seeing mostly routine congestion, but the inbound ride is a bit heavier than you'd normally expect at this hour. There was an earlier crash on the outbound Kennedy at Lake Street. The traffic's slow on the ride from the merge to 83rd Street, and then it's stop and go from the Stevenson to the Burns Circle. Express lane delays start around Pershing, so we're looking at 22 minutes 95th to downtown. A little heavier in the express right now. About 14 minutes downtown to 95th. The 8 is fine. Kennedy still looks good as well. Inbound Eisenhower, it's tight through the avenues. You're looking at a 2 or 3 minute delay. Inbound Stevenson traffic's heavy from before Central to Pulaski. Right now, it's about 32 minutes from 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Bishop Ford, it's about a 4 minute delay from Cottage Grove to the merge. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1 hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Some sun this morning, then increasing cloudiness today, high 34. Some snow tonight late, little or no accumulation, low 28. Snow tomorrow morning, followed by some rain in the afternoon, a high tomorrow at 34. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
25 at O'Hare. Next news at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. With all the acrimony in our politics and Trump at the center of it, you sometimes forget, because he's a street fighter, that he's also an acolyte of Norman Vincent Peale. Power of positive thinking. He's an optimist, particularly on America. And that was evident in his remarks at the World Economic Forum in Davos yesterday, including this riff on America's revival under one President Trump.
When I spoke at this forum 2 years ago, I told you that we had launched the great American comeback. Today, I'm proud to declare that the United States is in the midst of an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen before. We've regained our stride, rediscovered our spirit, and reawakened the powerful machinery of American enterprise. America is thriving, America is flourishing, and yes, America is winning again like never before.
And as we discussed yesterday, he spoke specifically about the blue-collar boom. And he offered statements like, we've adopted a whole new approach centered entirely on the well-being of the American worker. It's interesting. Don Serber, writing at his blog, putting the people first is straight out of Sun Tzu, who said, regard your soul. Yeah. I mean, there's a populist element. I'm not a populist. Populism can present itself in all kinds of ways, many of them negative. But you certainly understand the affinity for Trump. He has defined a constituency, and he has acted in furtherance of serving that constituency. It's actually not that complicated, except it seems to be beyond the grasp of so many of the members of the Vanguard class who assembled in Davos to hear those words. Isn't it? So obsessed with climate change, are they? Walter Russell Mead has a fun piece.
No, that was the theme yesterday.
Oh, no, it's the theme of the,
and,
that's the conference
And Trump
theme.
addressed it, and then Greta responded, but we'll get to that later.
Walter Russell Mead, this is great. He attended the conference. He wrote about it in the Journal. Mm-hmm. There is something inescapably ridiculous about a gathering this self-important. Certainly, Marie Antoinette and her friends dressing up as shepherdesses to celebrate the simple life has nothing on the more than 100 billionaires descending, often by private jet, on an exclusive Swiss ski resort for 4 days of ostentatious hand-wringing about the problems of the poor and the dangers of climate change. Listen to it.
This is good. I love this.
When he got there, This year, an earnest young aide at registration told me that to reduce the event's carbon footprint, no paper maps of the town were being distributed. One could almost feel the waves of relief from the nearby alpine glaciers at this sign of green progress. Meade writes sarcastically. Right, so everybody's coming down on private jets, but no paper maps. There we go. Strike a blow for Mother Earth.
That's fantastic.
But the question he poses at the end of his piece, the observation in question, is really key. As the millionaires, billionaires, and Greta assemble in Davos this week to debate the future of the world, they face a crisis of relevance. What if, with all of their competence, experience, cosmopolitan vision, and yes, goodwill, the Davosee are merely passengers, comfortably ensconced in first-class seats on a train whose route they do not know and cannot control? This is such an important point about what's going on within elite circles, the crisis of relevance. And so thus the need to hand-wring over things that are marginal and sometimes wholly manufactured, because what do you have to say about how things are progressing under, for example, in America, under President Trump? How do you mau it? For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Matt Ridley. He's a contributor to the Wall Street Journal, Spectator, and London Times. He's the author of The Rational Optimist, How Prosperity Evolves, and also the upcoming book, How Innovation Works. And he is a member of the House of Lords across the pond.
Fancy.
Matt, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Great to be on your show. I'm actually sitting in a closet in the House of Lords to try and find somewhere quiet.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
That's a great sacrifice. We appreciate it.
Yes, appreciate that. I mean, this whole week in Davos and some of Walter Russell Mead's observations, it dovetails nicely with a piece that you wrote for The Spectator about how, we may not be living in Candide, Dr. Pangloss, but things are pretty good.
Exactly, and Walter Russell Mead is spot on with his observations. I wrote a book 10 years ago saying the world's been getting better, not worse, and at an accelerating rate, and it's likely to do so in the coming decade. And boy, have I been proved right, even though I was writing that book at a time when the world was in a great recession and looked like it might struggle to get out of it. I'm not claiming to be a far-sighted seer. I'm just saying that the process by which we generate prosperity has continued for a very long time and will likely continue, and is reaching really, really poor people. I mean, the percentage of the world population that lives in extreme poverty, less than $1.90 a day, has doubled in the last decade. That's extraordinary. We're now down to less than 10% of the world living at that level. It was about 60% when I was born. No generation has ever lived through an experience of lifting people out of poverty like that. We're defeating child mortality. We're increasing lifespan at the rate of about 5 hours a day around the world. These are incredibly good times to be alive. And yet we're telling the young, as we told previous generations when I was young, the same thing happened, that the future is bleak and we're all doomed.
Yeah, what do you make over there about Greta Thunberg? And, yesterday she slammed world leaders on climate change, saying that basically nothing has been done.
Well, I feel very sorry for her because I don't know where she's getting the idea that A, nothing's been done, B, that it's an imminent and immediate catastrophe, and C, that she should be really, really panicked. That's the word she likes to use about the future. But some adults have very irresponsibly told her that she's doomed, and I think they should be held to account for that because it just simply isn't true. It's not supported by the science produced by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which shows a slow, gradual, and mostly so far beneficial warming, with some danger that later in the century it will be fast enough or extreme enough to cause damage. But at the moment, the number of people killed in droughts, floods, and storms continues to decline very rapidly, not go up. And where there are effects of climate change, they are on the whole pretty mild. And she talks about, some of her pronouncements are about extinctions and the likelihood that a lot of life will go extinct and that human beings will get so hungry in the next 10 years that they'll start eating maybe even each other. That's what the Extinction Rebellion movement says. This is nonsense. The amount of food available per head in the world is going up rapidly. The amount of land we need to produce that food is actually going down because of the improvements in agriculture. So ingenuity, human ingenuity, innovation is delivering huge benefits to humankind and to the natural environment, and that's likely to continue.
Yeah, again, one of the predictions you made a decade ago that we're getting more sustainable is being borne out by some of the research, including this study that was tweeted out by Judith Curry, who's actually a scientist, as opposed to so many who inveigh on the topic of climate change who are not. The study is by academics in the Environmental Economics and Policy Studies Journal. Find is that actually the social cost of carbon is negligible.
Correct. This is a new paper by Ross McKittrick.
Correct.
In Canada, and he's just sent it to me, and I haven't read the details, but it's certainly true that the social cost of carbon, that is the total cost of the damage done by global warming, is an embarrassment to the activist community because however they dress up the figures, they cannot get this number to come out as dangerously high.
And in point of fact, just to read one sentence from the abstract, these researchers, McKittrick and his colleagues, the lower bound of the social cost of carbon is likely negative. The upper bound is much lower than previously claimed, at least through mid-21st century.
Correct. And this is based on latest estimates of the climate sensitivity, that is to say, the amount of warming produced by a given increase in carbon dioxide. And I've been drawing attention for a number of years now. I first wrote about it in the Wall Street Journal, and everyone else had mentioned this, to the fact that there is a general increase in green vegetation in the world going on. This is proved by satellite data, but it's also proved by on-the-ground experiments and other evidence. And what that is caused by is largely the increase in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, because carbon dioxide is plant food. And particularly in arid areas, it is easier for plants to grow when there isn't a lot of water around if there's more carbon dioxide in the air. That's why we put extra carbon dioxide into commercial greenhouses to grow more tomatoes. That's what happens in the world. So that's a benefit of CO2.
I wanted to add,
has to be weighed against the costs.
I don't want to just focus on good times in America. It seems like happy times may be there again in the UK as well. I saw a story that more than 1,000 financial services firms are moving to open offices in the UK post-Brexit. So perhaps Brexit is not going to lead to the shriveling up and dying of the British economy?
Certainly not. We leave the European Union next Friday. And it's been a long battle to get the country to accept it. And indeed, they're doing battle again today in Parliament to finally get the bill through that enables this to happen, that Boris Johnson.
Now we'll go from Brexit to Megxit, because I'm obsessed with this story. Dan could care less. But Prince Harry landed in Canada yesterday, and he thinks that they're going to have a peaceful life, but it's getting off to a rocky start because he and his wife's attorneys are threatening legal action over paparazzi photos. I mean, he really thought he could come to North America, Canada, possibly the U.S., and not have the media follow him?
Yeah, well, it's not something I have a strong view on. I can understand their frustration with the media. It isn't nice. But on the other hand, the rest of the royal family lives with it, does a wonderful job, works incredibly hard. It's great for charities and other organizations here. I wish them well in Canada. I don't suppose it'll be very easy to forge a life there. And obviously we're sorry to see him go because they're both of them, most of us think they're great. We'd like them to stay, but there we are. But just back to Brexit for a second. You're absolutely right. We were told that our economy would fall off a cliff if we voted to leave. Since when the opposite has happened, we've grown faster than Europe. We've attracted more foreign direct investment than the rest of Europe. And we're opening up to the world. This isn't Britain turning in on itself. This is Britain saying we no longer want to be in a protectionist unit. We want to actually be free traders with all of the rest of the world, with the English-speaking world, like Canada and Australia and America, but also with Asia, the growing countries of Asia and Latin America and Africa. So this is very much Britain rejoining the world as a global country, and London is a global city. It's an extraordinary hub now. It's attracting huge financial investment, as you said, and we're in a pretty good place. But we could be in an even better place. And under Boris Johnson, I think we might be. I think he's going to bring animal spirits back to the engine of our economy.
He is Matt Ridley. He's a contributor to the Wall Street Journal, Spectator, London Times, author of The Rational Optimist: How Prosperity Evolves, and the upcoming How Innovation Works. That's his forthcoming book. He's also a member of the House of Lords in the UK. And Matt Ridley, thank you so much for making the time. We appreciate it.
It was great to talk to you today.
Thank you. And he, like you, did not want to talk about Mexits.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to adopt. They're so polite, unlike me.
They are so nice.
I like the response to you about the royal pains in the ass.
No, they've done a lot for the people.
It's not something I have a strong opinion on. I'm going to try and adopt that as my response to that.
And Matt joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Folks, when shopping for a home mortgage, how much is great service, low closing costs, and competitive interest rates worth to you? At Townstone Financial, it's priceless. Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of Townstone Financial. Let's hear about the Townstone experience from one of our customers.
Hi, my name's Lisa, and I just completed a cash-out refinance bank statement loan with Townstone Financial. I called Townstone Financial because I had a lot of equity in my house, but I also had a lot of credit card debt, and I wanted to take the equity out of my house to pay off my credit card debt, and nobody could help me with that because I'm self-employed. But Barry at Townstone had a program for me. Now I'm comfortable. I've paid off my debt, and I'm happy.
Remember, nobody values your home mortgage business more than Townstone. I guarantee it, and I own the company. So call me now, Barry Sterner, at 312-896-2110. That's 312-896-2110. Or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financial is licensed in Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida. NMLS 136639. www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Equal housing lender.
All right, let's get on this. Let's build our immune systems because the cold and flu season is in high gear. And a lot of people are having a terrible time kicking those colds. And the best way to stay healthy in 2020 is to boost that immune system by eating well. And that means getting enough fruits and veggies, which we have to admit we're not doing on our own. So that's where Balance of Nature comes in. If you take 6 capsules a day, 3 at night, 3 in the morning, or take them all at the same time, you're getting 10 servings of 31 fruits and veggies. There's no preservatives in there, no food dyes, all natural. And you hear stories right here on this station about how people's lives have changed by taking a Balance of Nature. And the next story could be yours, but you've got to order Balance of Nature today. Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself and make 2020 a year of better health for you. And right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off any new preferred orders of fruits and veggies. So start your journey to better health today. Call 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or simply go to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
AmericanEagle.com has been fortunate to develop thousands of business websites over the past 15 years. Businesses just like yours. Don't think because they advertise on the radio and mention big clients like Portillo's, WeatherTech, and Dairy Queen that they won't give your small to medium-sized business the same great service. Small and medium-sized companies are a huge part of AmericanEagle.com's clients. AmericanEagle.com's continued success is because they're capable of a wide range of projects from small to extremely large. They view all clients as long-term partners on every internet endeavor. When you're looking for an experienced and reputable partner for any of your internet-related projects, consider AmericanEagle.com. They'll likely be able to show you a project they've already done that's similar to what your company needs. AmericanEagle.com, the only name you need to know for website development, hosting, and maintenance. You can reach AmericanEagle.com on the web or at 773-NETWORK. That's 773-NETWORK.
Hey, I did it yesterday. I went to MyPillow.com and got 2 sets of Giza Cotton for sheets. Giza Cotton for 2 sets of Giza Cotton sheets for the price of 1. And you should do it too because this great offer could be over any day now And you've heard me talk endlessly about the great night's sleep I get with the MyPillow and those soft, comfy Giza cotton sheets. So if you've procrastinated, don't wait any longer. Get 2 sets for the price of 1. Plus, if you use the promo code Amy, you can still get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. I love the MyPillows. I love the mattress toppers. There are new MyPillow towels, which are very absorbent and come in an array of colors, anything. And all products have a 60-day money-back guarantee, a 10-year warranty. And folks, these products are all made in America. So go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener special box, and get 2 sets of Giza cotton sheets for the price of 1, and the best deals on all other great products. And they'll be shipped for free. MyPillow.com, promo code Amy, or call 800-489-0201 and tell them Amy sent you. Do your employees complain about your 401k program? Has it been more than 6 months since your 401k advisor provided a plan review? Well, the 401k experts at Clear Financial Strategies offer ways to make your plan better. Internal company surveys show significant increases in employee 401k satisfaction after the fiduciary advisors at Clear Financial Strategies enter the scene. Clear Financial Strategies uses a process to help streamline enrollment, education, investment selection, and more that will free up time for human resources and restore employee confidence in their 401k plan. Additionally, because Clear Financial Strategies does not accept commissions or other conflicts of interest, your employees tend to see better account results due to lower costs and greater efficiencies. Go to clearfinancialstrategies.com to learn more about the firm. Then call Alan Broughton direct at 815-788-6092 to schedule a free, no-obligation appointment. Again, that's 815-788-6092, clearfinancialstrategies.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy were talking about things being pretty good and getting better. Joe in Villa Park, here in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that these people that worship these false gods of climate change and social engineering and transgender this and that are so quick to just out of hand slight us that believe in God for a true utopia. And also with the Davos thing, it was reminiscent of the scene from Back to School where Rodney Dangerfield had to actually school the stuffy professor in business.
Yeah, first, you missed a bunch of things. First, you got to grease the Teamsters, and you're not dealing with the Mormon Tabernacle Choir there. That's great. Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield, that econ class or the business class in Back to School. That's a good one. That's a pretty good analogy. And I just go back to, they don't believe in these so many of these leads. They don't believe in climate change. They believe in them. They believe in their relevance. That's why Walter Russell Mead nails it. Crisis of relevance. That's what's happening in elite circles more than anything. Why? Because, Joe, to distinguish them from people like you, they believe they're good. They believe they're God. They're their own God. And so if they're relevant, and they're irrelevant, what do they have? Just money. And it's empty. Sad.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
More sadness. Hillary and Bernie haven't patched things up. And Project Veritas has done it again. They've got another field operative for Bernie, his man there in South Carolina, weighing in on gulags. You'll hear that audio at 6:36.
And later, did you see it? Did you hear about it? 2 former Illini basketball coaches part of one of the nastiest brawls in college basketball. But first, let's head straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
25 degrees at 6:31. House impeachment managers begin presenting their case today for removing President Trump from office. The 7 Democrats will have 24 hours over the next 3 days. Last night, the Senate approved procedural guidelines for the ongoing impeachment trial of President Trump. The vote fell along party lines. Guidelines crafted by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. California Democrat Adam Schiff says McConnell's roadmap is a rushed process for a rigged trial.
It is the president's apparent belief that under Article 2, he can do anything he wants, no matter how corrupt, outfitted in gaudy legal clothing.
Trump lawyer Jay Sekulow insisting the president was denied due process.
The president was denied the right to cross-examine witnesses. The president was denied the right to access evidence. And the president was denied the right to have counsel present at hearings.
Today's session begins at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and as Dan and Amy have told you this morning, the only things that are allowed to be consumed from a beverage perspective are milk and water. But do you know why? Senator Rick Scott is responsible for bringing to light that obscure Senate rule. The reason why milk is the only other drink allowed dates back to 1966. Apparently, water was the only drink allowed back then. Illinois Republican Everett Dirksen liked milk with his lunch. So the Senate agreed to amend the rules. Today's the deadline for those affected by the Equifax data breach to file a claim. The agreement with Equifax includes a $425 million restitution fund. It was a sunflower showdown between Kansas and Kansas State. It ends in a big brawl. Kansas head coach Bill Self said the ugly incident will have repercussions for his players.
That was an embarrassment on our part for the role that we played in it, and there will be consequences that I'm sure I'll announce tomorrow.
Benches emptied, several punches thrown in the Jayhawk win. Man is in critical condition following a shooting that led to a police crash that ended in a crash itself on Chicago's north side near Western and Montrose. O'Hare is set to begin screening for the deadly coronavirus. Decision comes as a man in Washington State has been infected with the virus here in the U.S. A Round Lake woman charged in the death of an infant in her home daycare last year is due in Lake County Court today. Jane Corzine is facing a charge of involuntary manslaughter. Blackhawks rally from 3 down, but still fell to the Panthers 4-3 at the UC last night. 22nd ranked Illinois win over Purdue in Big Ten hoops 79-62. Baseball's Hall of Fame has 2 new members, Derek Jeter and Larry Walker. The news service of Staples with a huge selection of ink and toner in stock at low prices. This week, HP OfficeJet Pro cartridges are buy one, get one 30% off. You'll get more for less at Staples. Offer ends 1/25/20. Restrictions apply. See store or staples.com/HPBOGO for details. Staples. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity doesn't see much difference in the Democratic frontrunners.
You got Bernie Sanders now. Volunteers are being told to zero in on the weaknesses of fellow socialist Elizabeth Warren. My personal opinion is there's not really a dime's worth of difference between the two of them. They're both radical, extreme, left-wing socialists that want Medicare for all and would want the Green New Deal.
The Sean Hannity Show, afternoons at 2, right before Steve Cortez at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson to talk about my incredible experience with Online Trading Academy. I signed up for my own free class, and you can too. You'll be introduced to skills to take control of your financial future. You'll learn the right moves to make when the economy turns and how to spend less time worrying about life and more time living it. You know, no one else will ever care about your financial future as much as you do. It's time for you to start learning how to invest in you. Seats are limited. Just call 844-778-7132 to attend and get 2 free passes to their next class so you can check this all out. And if you call right now, they will send you home with their Professionals Insider Kit. It's loaded with exclusive investing courses and some of their best lessons from the pros. This is a limited opportunity and seats go quickly, so call 844-778-7132. That's 844-778-7132, or visit them online at otaclass.com, otaclass.com.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I ended up getting a cold after Thanksgiving, and usually it always goes to my chest. Not even a usually, it just always goes to my chest. And I end up having to go to the doctor. This time I took 9 of the Balance of Nature for 2 days, and it totally cleared up. I was very impressed because every time I've gotten a cold for the past 5 years, it goes into my chest. And it didn't. It cleared up right away.
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com, and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Get the best sleep of your life. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their holiday sale.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center this morning, here's Jim Talamonte.
In northwest Indiana, we're seeing delays on 8094 westbound, Kennedy Avenue to Indianapolis Boulevard. There is a crash there. Southbound Tri-State Tollway just past Dixie Highway. There's a wreck blocking the left lane. Eden's inbound, you've got about a 2-minute delay, Peterson to the junction. Inbound Kennedy, now running about 24 minutes from O'Hare to downtown, outbound 21. Inbound Eisenhower, traffic slow, 25th Avenue to 1st Avenue, and Damon to approaching the Burns Circle. 34 minutes, 390 to downtown, outbound 28. Now Stevenson, it's about 36 minutes, 355 Lakeshore Drive. To Ryan, 22 minutes from 95th. I-57, a little tight approaching to Burns, which 3-minute delay approaching to Ryan. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Sunshine this morning. Clouds on the increase for the afternoon, high 34. 25 at O'Hare. Next news at 7, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, did you hear that ad for our friend Dennis Prager show? He said he's not watching the impeachment because the impeachment trial because to do so gives it legitimacy. Well, if Dennis doesn't have to watch it, do we have to watch it?
I don't want to watch it if he's not watching it.
No.
I tuned in at 12:45 this morning. They were still gabbing up there, yapping.
Maybe Prager can lead a whole walkaway movement from paying any attention to the impeachment trial. That might be productive. We'll get back to the impeachment trial at the top of the hour with George Perry, former federal prosecutor.
Today?
But got to cover this wide-ranging interview that Hillary Clinton, still looking for a broker convention in which she rides in on her white horse, I suppose, side saddle.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she gave an interview to The Hollywood Reporter because there's this new Hulu docuseries called Hillary that's going to be unveiled at the Sundance Film Festival.
I'm sure it will be award-winning. And
it's about her 2016 campaign.
And compelling. In the doc, the reporter asks, you say of Bernie Sanders, he was in Congress for years. He had one senator support him. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants to work with him. He's got nothing done. He was a career politician. It's all just baloney, and I feel so bad that people got sucked into it. Does that assessment still hold? The answer, yes, it does. Will you endorse him if he was the nominee? I'm not going to go there yet. We're still in a vigorous primary season. I will say, however, that it's not only him, it's the culture around him. It's his leadership team. It's his prominent supporters. It's his online Bernie bros and their relentless attacks on lots of his competitors, particularly the women. It's remarkable. She just cannot maintain focus, maintain discipline when it comes to political competitors, political opponents. Yeah. She has to go after their supporters. This is in part why she lost in 2016. Trump supporters are the deplorables, and the Bernie bros. Some of their views are deplorable, but to attack somebody who basically ran in a dead heat with you for the nomination 4 years ago, and think you're going to be some sort of either party savior or unifying figure or party poobah, kingmaker. I don't think so.
Well, poison grace, which she has absolutely none of, should have stayed out of it. Bernie Sanders responded before he went in for his 13-hour session.
Secretary Clinton, as you know, said that as a senator you got nothing done and that no one likes you. What's your response to that?
Got a post
on. Good day, my wife likes me. So let's clear the air on that one.
Get that? On a good day, my wife likes me.
Right now, today I am dealing with impeachment.
But Secretary Clinton said was about your supporters and criticizing them.
Look. Secretary Clinton is entitled to her point of view. My job today is to focus on the impeachment trial. My job today is to put together a team that can defeat the most dangerous president in the history of the United States of America.
Why do you think the Secretary is still talking about 2016?
That is a good question. Ask him. Okay, thanks very much.
How are you prepared to...
Well, and then this started this whole movement. Tom Steyer tweeted out, at the risk of getting in the middle of it, I like at Bernie Sanders. Let's move on, America.
I just want to say hi, Bernie. Hi, Bernie.
Tulsi Gabbard, I like Bernie. Hashtag I like Bernie.
Well, yeah, that became
right.
Obviously a Twitter meme.
A Twitter meme, right. And then Hillary Clinton, though, Dan, walked it back with a tweet. I thought everyone wanted my authentic, unvarnished views, ! But to be serious, the number one priority for our country and world is retiring Trump. And as always, I will do whatever I can to support our nominee. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Well, that's not what she said in the interview. I'm not
No,
going
it's
to go
not.
there yet.
Yeah. Well, she walked it back because she's thinking about party unity, Dan.
A more important thing that she said that was untrue, viciously untrue, despicably untrue. She was asked about her association to Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, yeah.
How could we have known, she told The Hollywood Reporter. He raised money for me, for the Obamas, for Democrats in general. And that, at the time, was something that everybody thought made sense. And, of course, if all of us had known what we know now, it would have affected our behavior. Would it have? Actress Lena Dunham said she mentioned Weinstein's conduct to Clinton's deputy comm director in March of 2016 after she had stories about other actresses and their encounters. Dunham told the deputy comm director for Clinton, March of 2016. I just want to let you know that Harvey's a rapist, and this is going to come out at some point. The deputy comms director was so startled by the allegations, she said she would tell the campaign manager, Robbie Mook. She also said she alerted a Clinton spokeswoman who led the efforts with celebrity campaigners. Both of them now have denied that Dunham mentioned rape in her warnings. Mook said he was never told the allegations, of course, plausible deniability. Hollywood Reporter magazine editor Tina Brown said she told a member of Clinton's inner circle about Weinstein as far back as 2008 during Clinton's first presidential run.
Oh, my gosh.
And then, of course, a spokesman for Dame Hillary says they don't remember any such warning from Tina Brown.
I was surprised the Hollywood Reporter interview, they didn't ask her about her husband's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. That kind of was left out.
Well, if we would have known
we would have known, Dan.
if we would have known then what we know now, of course that would have changed our behavior. Would it?
He went on the plane.
Do you think it would have? I don't think it would have. And I'll tell you what, when you're in those rarefied circles, and they're small, relatively speaking, and there's a lot of money sloshing around and a lot of status being conferred, you're telling me that you don't hear rumblings about these things? There's no gossiping that goes on in those relatively small circles? I mean, that again, it's like pretending that all of Chicago didn't know about R. Kelly's predilections.
Oh, yeah.
So do I think Hillary Clinton is lying? I always think Hillary Clinton is lying, and this is no exception.
And then the walking back just makes me sick. I mean, stop it.
There's a
Be
good,
true to your anger.
Good observation from one tweeter. Hillary not only lost to Trump, perhaps more significantly, she also lost the Democratic Party to its left wing. The polarity of the enormous rage to be unleashed on the Orange Man was reversed and jolted the establishment instead. Yeah, I think that's a good observation, and I think the Democrats, socialists, are still reeling from that as they're trying to figure out in this field who can win and can anybody emerge from this process being perceived as sane by a majority of the population, majority of the electorate. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good observation on Hillary's impact, not on just the 2016 general election, but on the Democrat Party going forward, really for the last 2 decades, but most particularly in the last 4 years with Bernie's staying power. It's rather remarkable. Now, this is, of course, hardly a defense of Gulag Bernie. And Project Veritas has another installment of deep thoughts with Gulag Bernie campaign staffers. You heard from one of his Iowa field organizers last week. Now hear from Martin Weisgerber.
What's that?
A field organizer in South Carolina. This is what he had to say to one of James O'Keefe's undercover reporters.
Do we just dissolve the Senate, House of Representatives, the judicial branch, and have somebody like Bernie Sanders and a cabinet of people make all the decisions for the climate? I mean, I'm serious.
Yeah, the executive.
We can't address the immediacy of the climate change occurring.
Gridlock.
So, first order of business, day one, dissolve the Senate. Okay. All right.
All right.
What else you got planned for us?
Knock on wood. If Bernie was to lose, I would like to see yellow vest protests like here, stateside.
I'm already on Twitter following numerous groups around the country that are ready to organize yellow vest protests.
Okay.
I mean, I'm ready.
Let me know.
I'm ready to start tearing bricks up and start fighting.
Good.
I'm no cop, bro. I'll straight up get arms. I want to learn how to shoot and go train. I'm ready for the revolution, bro. All right. I'm telling you.
Good stuff.
Guillotine the rich.
Guillotine the rich.
Hell yeah. The guillotine's very humane too.
Yeah,
it's humane. It's humane.
It's more humane than the gulag.
No, I mean, that's debatable. Like, I'm of the belief that, I read a little bit about the gulags. I think they're blown a little bit out of proportion. They were mostly for re-education. I don't know, what?
Montana's like, she hears this spiel from me all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you guys were like, no way. Yeah. But I think they were more for education. I think they're more for education.
Gulags are founded as free education camps.
Right.
What? I mean, we have a joke that people we don't like, we say, send them to the gulag.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's so fun. I mean, I knew they had a strange affinity for gulags, but now violence, and then they want to guillotine the rich. They could start with Bernie. He's a millionaire. He's rich.
That's true. Not rich enough. Free those gulags, though. When you think gulags, you think, persecution. You're thinking about it all wrong. They're free education camps.
Oh, thanks, Dan.
Yeah, it's like going up to Honey Rock in Wisconsin or something.
What will help is when we send all the Republicans to the free education. Can you imagine Mitch McConnell?
Oh, God, he wouldn't survive a day.
Lindsey Graham. I only learned this in college when I started studying the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was not horrible.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, for women's rights, the Soviet Union is, I think, the most progressive place to date in the world.
Racial rights, too.
Yes.
Yeah, there's been a lot of negative press about the Soviet Union in the 20th century. I guess it's mainly related to the fact that they disappeared 60 million people. So they got a bit of a, bad rap.
Yeah.
But that's all focusing on the negative. What about the positives of the totalitarian despots, those communists over there in the Soviet Union? The women's rights and the racial rights. They were really part of the progressive vanguard. So, I mean, it's, unfortunately it didn't work out, but it doesn't mean we can't try it here.
Are these guys for real?
They're not only they're for real. That's a lead field organizer for Bernie in South Carolina after the other guy extolling the virtues of gulags. They're free education camps, will pay a livable wage. Yeah, I mean, we might have to slaughter some people, but there's gonna always be some eggs that have to be broken. Some heads that are gonna have to be scrambled.
Did anyone ask him if they like Bernie? Do they like working for him? Apparently they do.
I think they love it. I think they're looking forward to the opportunity to run some of those free education camps they're speaking
and they
so
want to abolish
about.
the Senate on the first day.
Yeah, dissolve it. It's a pain in the ass. It's blocking all kinds of good stuff. If the Republicans are still in control, well, first of all, not only going to dissolve the Senate, according to them, they're going to dissolve Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell as well. They'll go off to the gulags. So, I mean, This checks and balances, these co-equal branches. I mean, that's fine and well if it's all the communists in charge, and it's just
and they'll get rid of the Constitution.
It's just a show. But I mean, when it becomes a hindrance to all the wonderful things that we'd like to usher in, then you got to get rid of it. Now, I know when people are going to say too, well, these are just some knucklehead Bernie campaign staffers, and he's not really going to do that, and that would never happen in America.
It's not like that. This was their first time discussing this. You know what I mean?
Have you heard Bernie 30 years ago in the Soviet Union? Have you heard Bernie weigh in on Cuba? Do you think he's joking around? You think he's not dyed-in-the-wool red? He is. You think the Constitution, that piece of paper, you think that what's emblazoned on those papers, those pages of the Constitution, you think they comport with Bernie Sanders' values? I mean, this idea, it would be Soviet Union. No. And it wouldn't happen without incident. The idea that you can have a lurch towards authoritarian rule in this country when half of the people under 38 say they want to live in a socialist country, even though they don't have, many of them, I would suggest, don't have a full appreciation of what that would look like and how that living would go. I mean, the dismissal of these Jacobins as, they're never going to, bring a revolution that would fundamentally alter our country.
And even if Bernie doesn't win, they have a plan. The Yellow Jackets, violence on the street, I'm going to grab bricks.
Yeah. Did you listen to the interview we did earlier in the week, or was it last week now, with the two Venezuelan students that are touring college campuses in this country, talking about what Venezuela was when they were kids and what it became under Chavez and now Maduro, and how it was a 20, 25, 30-year run-up to Chavez and Maduro? I know, smaller country, all the dynamics are very different. That doesn't have the same foundational institutions and documents that America has. There's no need to overstate the case, because the ideas that they're proposing are so offensive to a freedom-loving people. I certainly believe and pray that they will never come to pass, but I'm not going to assume that they could never. I wouldn't be so quick to dismiss somebody that was nearly a major party nominee for president in 2016 and is a contender to be a major party nominee for president of the United States in 2020. I wouldn't be so quick to dismiss that.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Rob in Ukrainian Village.
Hey, as you're playing and discussing all of this, I know Dennis Prager talks about where our colleges and universities are headed, and Dan Bongino touched on it yesterday on his show with this same clip. But, the guy said that he learned about how great the Soviet Union was at college. And, what does that say about where our country's headed and what our children are being taught and, where things are headed?
Thanks for the call, Rob. I mean, think of it. What if Bernie Sanders had been president in the 80s instead of running for president in the 2010s, 2020?
Think of a different world we'd be living in.
What if it wasn't Reagan? Tom in Hobart, Indiana.
Yeah, Dan, how do they intend to round people up from a logistics point of view?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be rounded up. So how are they going to deal with me when I say, you know what, I'm not going anywhere?
Well, thanks for the call, Tom. I understand. We've got some blueprints for how that operates for resistors, don't we? Throughout the 20th century that we could point to in terms of how the state normally handles people who resist compliance. Yeah. Dawn in Plainfield.
Yeah, good morning. I think it was Reagan who said we're only one generation away from our freedom. But, don't you find it remarkable and really nerve for Hillary Clinton to run for president when her husband was impeached for lying about having sexual relations with a female intern, that, she herself aligned with her husband's own lies? I remember her saying that it was all a Republican conspiracy. The whole impeachment investigation was a Republican conspiracy.
Vast right-wing conspiracy. Right.
It's really remarkable to me that nobody, just the virtue of the left, but they never bring that up. I don't understand that. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Dawn. I was surprised they brought Weinstein up. That was aggressive. Margot in Burr Ridge.
Yeah, I just want to say, do you think the bourgeoisie in Russia in 1916 thought anything was going to happen to them in 1917?
Mm-hmm.
And do you think the Jews in Germany in 1930 thought what was going to be happening to them within 10 years? I mean, you never think these unthinkable things are going to happen. But there's enough anger in his little group, his little cabal of people, that they could make it happen. I mean, listen to the anger in their voices when they speak. I mean, look at that guy that shot up all the Republicans in the baseball field. These people have really, really deep anger, and that's what propels all these people that would kill other people and ruin their lives.
Thanks,
That's
Marco.
all.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg. Meet Joe, 56, married, living in a $300,000 home in the western burbs. Joe accumulated $50,000 in credit card debt while unemployed. After securing a job, Joe wanted to refinance, so he called Team Hochberg for a free consultation. Team Hochberg loan officer Cindy Piazza helped Joe do a cash-out refinance, which paid off all his credit cards and 2 Parent Plus student loans, which reduced Joe's payment over $800 a month. Let's review. Joe lost his job, racked up 50 G's in credit card debt, supporting his family until securing a new job. Team Hochberg helped Joe pay off his debt with a cash-out refinance and saved Joe close to 10 G's a year. If you want to pay off debt like Joe, call Team Hochberg now at 855-56-DAVID. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial Equal Housing Lender, NLS 1124061.
It's a real-world reality. Gunshots. Sometimes the results are tragic. Now, there's gunshot detection technology and active shooter countermeasure technology available right now. And it was developed for the U.S. government.
Hey, this is Mike Walsh. My company is Walsh Wireless. We are the Chicagoland dealer for gunshot detection technology. This gunshot detection system is nothing short of amazing, and it is highly effective. Who uses it? Government, healthcare, education, houses of worship, entertainment, and a lot more. There are no false positives, and that's good. The system can identify the caliber of the gun, so law enforcement can be prepared. This gunshot detection system can also work with your current security system to do a lockdown, instant notification, and more. Identify the gunshot and cut down response time. You need this. Gunshot detection technology from Walsh Wireless. Cost-effective solution to counter a real-world reality.
Financing available. Go to walshwireless.com. A proud IBEW contractor. walshwireless.com.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560. The Answer. This is Chicago's election station, AM 560. The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app and radio.com.
Imagine if President Trump went to the Senate for his impeachment trial. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Sit right in the front row and stare at their corrupt faces. I'd love to do it.
But he says his lawyers...
I think they might have a problem.
The president wrapping up his trip to Davos, Switzerland, again also called the case against him a hoax, a witch hunt, after the trial went way past 1 a.m.
We end where we started, with one party wanting a fair trial and one party that doesn't.
Congressman Adam Schiff and the other House Democrat impeachment managers say Republicans are covering up the president's abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, initially blocking witnesses and document subpoenas.
What does Mr. Schiff mean by obstructing? He means that unless you do exactly what he says, regardless of your constitutional rights, then you're obstructing.
That's lead White House counsel Pat Cipollone. The two sides sniped at each other, and Chief Justice Roberts admonished them both to remind them they're at the Senate. Now, they'll be back at it later today. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
Senators voted along party lines to approve Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's organizing resolution, which sets the ground rules for the impeachment trial. Each side will get 24 hours to make their opening arguments starting today at 1 p.m. Eastern. That process should last 3 days. After the House managers and the president's lawyers make their case, senators will then be allowed 16 hours to question the opposing sides with written questions. And following that, the Senate will then consider whether to subpoena witnesses or documents. Dave?
John, there will also be opening statements today In New York City, at Harvey Weinstein's trial, the ex-Hollywood producer charged with raping a woman, sexually assaulting another, and he'll also later face charges in Los Angeles. And we also have breaking news that a star of Monty Python's Flying Circus and all those movies, Terry Jones, has died at age 77. America's listening to Fox News.
Sunrise in Chicago, 25 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. Man in critical condition following a shooting that led to a police chase and crash on Chicago's north side. A man was shot last night in the 3300 block of West Armitage Avenue by someone in a passing vehicle. Officers chased that vehicle. Shots were fired at police during that pursuit, which ended near Western and Montrose. O'Hare set to begin screening for the deadly coronavirus. Chicago's Public Health Commissioner Dr. Allison Arwady says travelers from Wuhan, China will be screened for symptoms of the respiratory virus.
There's any concern that they have a cough or a fever, even a low amount of suspicion, we would divert them from their travel and they would be transported securely, not through the general airport, to a hospital.
Airport screenings began last week in San Francisco, L.A., and New York. Federal judge is siding with the Chicago Public Schools in a 2012 class action lawsuit over allegations of discriminatory layoffs. Dates back to summer of 2011 when 630 black educators were among the nearly 1,500 CPS employees laid off due to declining enrollment at schools on the city's south and west sides. A special prosecutor has been appointed in a case where a Joliet police officer was charged with driving under the influence connected with a crash on I-55 that killed a Berwyn police officer. Officer Aaron Zilka, who also faces a charge of failure to reduce speed, has been placed on administrative leave. Zilka is scheduled to be arraigned March 18. Macon County officials are trying to determine if a non-citizen voted in the 2018 election. Secretary of State's office says a glitch with one of those offices' electronic keypads inadvertently registered 574 people. One of those people voted in the 2018 election in Macon County, where the sheriff's race was won by just one vote. Blackhawks fell to the Panthers at the UC ahead of the All-Star break, 4-3. Fighting Illini were winners over Purdue in Big Ten hoops, 79-62. The news, a service of new Mucinex Night Shift. New Mucinex Night Shift fights your worst cold and flu symptoms like coughing, sneezing, and congestion, so you can sleep great and wake up feeling like a human. New Mucinex Night Shift for nighttime cold and flu relief. Get relief with super-fast delivery. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
With all the noise and political spin of the news cycle, it's easy for the things that really matter to get lost. Sources with knowledge cuts through all the clutter to bring you biting commentary on the week's events. This Sunday at 3 p.m., your hosts Eric Cohn and Joe Kaiser bring you insight on politics and policy, as well as culture, sports, food, and everything else you need, so you can understand what's happened this week. It's Sources with Knowledge this Sunday at 3 p.m. right here on AM 560. The Answer.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No. Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
10, 15, 20, 30-year term, whole life, universal life, index universal life, variable universal life, long-term care. Are you confused yet? No need to be. For nearly 3 decades, Northern Resource Group has assisted families and businesses understand the maze of insurance and safe money choices. Then, after careful analysis of your needs, they shop and search every leading company to find the best products and services for your family or business. Whether it's tax advantage policies, living benefits, simple term insurance, or something else, Northern Resource Group excels in selection, underwriting, and service. Call Chicagoland-based Northern Resource Group to receive your free, valuable, all-life report. It's packed with educational and easy-to-understand information. Call toll-free 888-762-8020 or visit northernresourcegroup.com. Northern Resource Group, Chicagoland's insurance and safe money professionals. That's 888-762-8020 or online at northernresourcegroup.com. Again, that number, 888-762-8020.
Staples has a huge selection of ink and toner in stock at low prices. This week, HP Office Jet Pro cartridges are buy one, get one 30% off. You'll get more for less at Staples. Offer ends 1/25/20. Restrictions apply. See store or staples.com/HPBOGO for details. Staples.
Let's get a check of the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center with Jim.
In Bensonville, northbound 83 is bottled up from 3rd Avenue to Hillside. Crash. Traffic gets by on the right shoulder. 8094 westbound at Stop and Go Klein to Indianapolis Boulevard. There's a crash on the right shoulder there. Inbound Edens, 22 minutes Lake Cook to the junction. Outbound 18. Kennedy looking at 42 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 23 from Montrose, 16 on the Express. Outbound, 26 minutes to the airport. About Eisenhower, it's a 42-minute drive, 390 to downtown. Outbound, 32. Inbound Stevenson now, 46 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 25 minutes from 95th. I-57, 18 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop, Ford, 18. I'm Jim Calamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Sun this morning. Clouds on the increase, a high of 34, currently 25. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So day one of the trial of the century is in the books. We got 2 more days of opening statements. We're down to 8-hour shifts rather than 12-hour shifts. Shifts, not shifts.
Get it?
With
But
a
the
T.
shift.
Yeah, not 2 Fs. Now you're going to hear a rinsing and repeating of most of what you heard for yesterday's 8 hours, I suspect, until we get to, the key votes after arguments have been presented, questions have been asked and answered. Then we'll get to key votes on things like witnesses to get a sense of how long this is going to take. But it certainly isn't portending that it will take more than the week or 2 it was projected to take. I don't know that Adam Schiff and Jerry Nadler's arguments are encouraging enough Republicans to break from their party and side with them on the matter of witnesses. Schiff started the fun by outlining the basis, again, for the 2 articles of impeachment. Number 1 is abuse of power.
When the founders wrote the impeachment clause, they had precisely this type of misconduct in mind. Conduct that abuses the power of his office for personal benefit, that undermines our national security, that invites foreign interference in our democratic process of an election. It is the trifecta of constitutional misconduct justifying impeachment.
Yeah, and to that trifecta, attorney for the president, the president's defense team, Jay Sekulow, responded.
Mr. Schiff also talked about a trifecta. I'll give you a trifecta. During the proceedings that took place before the Judiciary Committee, the president was denied the right to cross-examine witnesses. The president was denied the right to access evidence. And the president was denied the right to have counsel present at hearings. That's a trifecta that violates the Constitution of the United States.
Something else, too, and this is a motif that runs throughout both Schiff's arguments as well as those of his fellow House managers. Smear campaign against Joe Biden, an attempt to cheat, rig the 2020 election. What is the evidence of that? Hey, I'd like you to look into the goings-on there and maybe work with the Department of Justice in doing so. Some concerns about what was going on. How is that rigging the 2020 election? Asking a foreign ally to look into troubling news of, certainly on the face of it, substantive concerns about political corruption and potentially violations of American law, as you have Americans with political clout dealing with foreign governments and foreign businesses, and in some cases, dubious foreign businesses and business people. This whole cheating and smearing, I expect at some point somebody is going to respond to that. Adam Schiff then laying out the basis for Article 2, obstruction of Congress.
In Article 2, the president is charged with other misconduct that would likewise have alarmed the founders. The full, complete, and absolute obstruction of a co-equal branch of government, the Congress, during the course of its impeachment investigation into the president's own misconduct. This is every bit as destructive of our constitutional order as the misconduct charged in the first article. If a president can obstruct his own investigation, if he can effectively nullify a power the Constitution gives solely to Congress, indeed the ultimate power the Constitution gives to prevent presidential misconduct, then the president places himself beyond accountability, above the law, cannot be indicted, cannot be impeached. It makes him a monarch, the very evil against which our Constitution and the balance of powers it carefully laid out was designed to guard against.
This is just an absurd argument that he makes. Asserting constitutionally provided executive privilege makes the president a monarch. Pat Cipollone responds to that using Harvard law professor Larry Tribe's own words on this topic against Schiff and the House managers, and to some extent Larry Tribe, who's an advisor.
It's ridiculous, and we should call it out for what it is. Obstruction for going to court? It's an act of patriotism to defend the constitutional rights of the president, because if they can do it to the president, they could do it to any of you, and they could do it to any American citizen, and that's wrong. And Lawrence Tribe, who's been advising them, I guess he didn't tell you that in the Clinton impeachment he said it's dangerous to suggest that invoking constitutional rights is impeachable. It's dangerous. And you know what? It is dangerous, Mr. Schiff.
It wasn't so long ago that Adam Schiff used to agree with Pat Cipollone and Larry Tribe. Jay Sekulow recounted a time just a few years ago under a different president when Adam Schiff's belief in executive privilege was still robust.
On June 28, 2012, Attorney General Eric Holder became the first United States Attorney General to be held in both civil and criminal contempt. Why? Because President Obama asserted executive privilege. With respect to the Holder contempt proceedings, Mr. Manager Schiff wrote, "The White House assertion of privilege is backed by decades of precedent that has recognized the need for the president and his senior advisors to receive candid advice and information from their top aides." Indeed, that's correct. Not because Manager Schiff said it, but because the Constitution requires it.
As Cipollone said, not only do House Democrats not have a case, they don't even have charges. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by George Perry. He's a former federal and state prosecutor, regular contributor to the Philadelphia Inquirer, and blogs at knowledgeisgood.net. George, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Well, glad to be here.
How did you size up the opening day's opening arguments?
Well, there's nothing there in terms of the charges. The charges are ridiculous. There's no legal basis for any of it. But what I'm getting out of this there are a couple of major takeaways from my standpoint. Number one, Adam Schiff, I used to think he was just your standard issue Washington, D.C. hypocrite. I'm beginning to think as I watch him that he just may be a psycho.
Is that a legal? Is that a legal term, or yeah?
It is. It is.
Or a Hitchcockian term?
Yeah. I mean, really. I've been involved as a prosecutor and a criminal lawyer for many, many years. I've talked to guys in prisons who come across just like Adam Schiff. You know, they seem to believe what they're saying, but in the middle of it all, they'll say, well, you know, I didn't commit the crime voluntarily. It's because the Jesuits were shooting my brain with cosmic rays. And you go, what? I mean, I'm getting that vibe out of watching Adam Schiff. There's something about his demeanor. There's something about this fake sincerity that he's got going, that, you know, this is a big constitutional crisis. I mean, the guy is describing a telephone call, for heaven's sake, and he's saying, you know, this is threatening the republic. And then he's talking about, you know, not the abuse of power, but, you know, obstruction of Congress. And then he says, well, you know, they wanted to go to court to block our subpoenas. By the way, those subpoenas were never even authorized by the House of Representatives. They were so quick to just kind of run through this whole thing. They didn't even take the first step you need to take to have a proper impeachment, which is to have a House-wide impeachment vote. So without getting lost in the weeds, that's my number one major takeaway is I think Adam Schiff may need mental intervention. The other thing that I'm getting out of this is there's this old trial lawyer motto that keeps coming to mind, and it goes something along these lines. The mind can absorb only that which the rear end can endure. And it's just painful. This whole thing is painful. And, you know, I get to get up and go to the bathroom and go out to the refrigerator and have a couple of beers and come back a couple hours later. Those senators who are tied to their chairs, that's your jury. And
Right.
one of the things you learn as a trial lawyer is whatever you do, don't wear out the patience of the jury. And boy, do these people in the Senate really want to go through 6 weeks of this? Do they really want to go for calling witnesses when it means they're going to have to sit there and listen to this garbage? So you've got those dynamics going. But the final takeaway, and then I'll get off my soapbox here. What you're looking at is basically a political attack ad by the Democrats that we're paying for. The taxpayers are paying for it. But the good news is nobody's watching, and nobody's going to be convinced by any of this stuff. The people who hate Trump are going to continue to hate Trump. The people who love Trump are going to continue to love him. And I don't think it's going to shift that many votes. I don't think it's going to have that big an effect. And frankly, I can't understand what the Democrats think they're doing other than trying to dirty up the president for the upcoming election. And, you know, while they're in there throwing mud, where was the president? Well, yesterday he was in Davos. And while this has been going on, he signed 2 major trade deals and the economy's booming. So it's like watching a murder mystery where you already know who did it and how he did it. And nobody cares. I mean, really, my takeaway.
I mean, all the networks had it on, and then toward, you know, prime time, they cut back to regular programming. But these senators, no cell phones. They can't have, all they can have is food. I mean, not food, water or milk to drink. Do you think any of them are going to collapse? I mean, when was the last time you think they pulled an all-nighter? Because they got done at 2 a.m. today, and they start up again at 1 a.m. Washington time.
Yeah, but most of them have colostomy bags as a matter of course. So, I mean, it doesn't matter that much.
That's got to be brutal for them. I wonder if anyone, they're going to drop before this is over.
Well, look, I mean, in the old days, in the jury system back in England, when a jury was deliberating, they were denied food, water, and sleep. Well, I guess it's one way to make them. Yeah, right. I mean, here we are. But your point about the network programming. The other day, my wife, who is my reliable political weather vane, she went in and turned on the television, and all of a sudden I hear this string of expletives. And I said, "What's wrong?" And she said, "I can't watch General Hospital. These morons are on television talking about impeaching the president." And that's what I call the General Hospital effect. I think there's going to be some of that going on here, too. People are just going to tune out. Who wants to watch this?
Also, do you think that Democrats are have a difficult case to make out? I mean, when they have to argue process over substance, it seems like if you're arguing process, and so much of this is legalese in orientation, that it's just going to be difficult to get people interested. Wait, what's the underlying substance again? Why is it that we're supposed to remove from office? You can argue about witnesses back and forth all you want, but if you don't give me the why this is all going on, then I'm just, as you say, going to tune out, or certainly not going to confer the matter much legitimacy.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to this: they don't have a case. They just don't have a case. It's it's kind of like they're there screaming and yelling and carrying on. And when you boil it all down, you got to say, what are you guys talking about? I mean, really, what are we talking about? The president's legal team filed a very strong answer in supporting brief, and they completely deconstructed the whole thing. I guess the only real question that's open is, are any of these squishy Republican senators going to get peeled off by the Democrats to vote with them on calling witnesses? Now, for those of us who tend to be sociopaths ourselves, I think that would be a hoot if they started calling witnesses. But even there, Adam Schiff really outdid himself. And again, I think this moves him closer to the lunatic category. He was on television saying, well, of course we should have witnesses, but the president shouldn't be allowed to call witnesses like Hunter Biden.
Right.
I mean, get it? We get to call witnesses, but he can't call his witnesses. And he said it with a straight face, with those little round eyes of his darting around like he's a barricaded man. And I thought, he said it with such conviction. And how do you say something that hypocritical and that outrageous and not just kind of, collapse in embarrassment?
Yeah, I think there's a messianic quality to what you're describing with respect to Schiff's mannerisms, as well as the quality of the arguments, as you're mentioning. That's a good example, the whole Hunter Biden thing, because he has deemed it not material to the proceeding. He is George Perry, former federal and state prosecutor, regular contributor to the Philadelphia Inquirer. He blogs at knowledgeisgood.net as well. George, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Okay, enjoyed it.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
A business needs to be built on a great foundation, one with the framework of integrity and tradition. Chapel Design Build delivers just that, providing design build and general contracting services using Butler Steel Building Systems. Their projects dot the landscape from O'Hare to DeKalb. You see their work in office and warehouse additions, recreational facilities, large-scale distribution centers, and manufacturing plants all over northern Illinois. Partnering with Butler Steel Buildings, Chapel Design Build has developed an extensive subcontractor base and valuable market knowledge to get your quality built project completed on time and on budget, ensuring your project is a success for your business and one that you will be proud of for years to come. The goal is to build lasting relationships with their clients using buildings that last from Butler. Get started on your next building project built with Butler Steel. Visit chapeldb.com. That's Chapel D as in design, B as in build, radio.com.
Oh, it's that time to take the balance of nature. What I do is put 3 capsules of the fruits in warm water and let it dissolve, and then take it, and it coats your throat and makes you feel better. And I started taking Balance of Nature again because I was off it for 4 weeks, and that was the worst 4 weeks of my life. I had everything you can imagine. My immune system was shot. Cold, sinus infection, pneumonia, you name it, I had it. But now I'm taking Balance of Nature every day. I'm committed to living a healthier 2020. And the way to do that and to keep off colds and the flu is to boost your immune system by eating well. And that means getting enough fruits and veggies, which, admit it, we're not doing on our own. And that's where Balanced Nature comes in. 6 capsules a day. You're getting 10 servings, 10 of 31 fruits and veggies. And there's no dyes or preservatives in these capsules. And it's made here in America. And you hear stories right here on this station all the time about how people's lives have changed. I told you about my friend who, 80 years old, had a heart surgery. And 4 months later, with the help of Balance of Nature, this is what he told me, he was constructed a pergola in his backyard on his own in his 80s. So take Balance of Nature. Maybe you too can build a pergola in your backyard. Right now, call this number, 800-246-8751, because you can have free shipping and 35% off your order. But you've got to call this number, 800-246-8751, or simply go to balanceofnature.com. Use that discount code, Chicago.
Hey there, Paul here. At Sprint, we know how much you depend on your phone. So when you've got a cracked screen, it's the worst. We get it. And we want to help you. It doesn't matter if you have Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile. Just drop by a Sprint repair store and we will fix your Samsung Galaxy's cracked screen for just $49. Seriously, you don't even need to switch. We're doing things differently. It doesn't matter which carrier you use, Sprint will fix your Samsung Galaxy's cracked screen for just $49. Whether you dropped it and chipped the corner while taking a selfie, even if your 2-year-old shattered the whole screen, Sprint will repair it. That's a pretty great deal for a less than great situation. So, what are you waiting for? Visit sprint.com/fixmyscreen and visit a Sprint repair store near you now until February 9th.
Requires eligible Galaxy phone in working condition. Not all screens are repairable. Same-day service not guaranteed. Limit 1 per customer while supplies last. Not combinable with insurance claims. Restrictions apply.
Are you plagued by persistent floaters in your vision? Floaters are the moving cobwebs, strands, or veils seen when you look at a computer screen or a light color background. They range in size and shape from tiny dots to large veils and vary in severity from a minor annoyance to a substantial visual impairment. There is now a safe and effective treatment to eliminate persistent visual floaters called YAG vitriolysis. It's covered by most health insurance companies. Very few eye surgeons perform this procedure. Dr. Harry Bernstein of the Elgin Eye Clinic is an expert in evaluating and treating eye floaters with a laser specifically designed to eliminate floaters. This brief and painless procedure is performed right in the office. If you're bothered by significant floaters, call Dr. Bernstein now to schedule a free floater evaluation. Call 636-535-2020. That's 636-535-2020, or schedule online at elgineye.com. That's Elgin, E-Y-E, elgineye.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to Wall Street Journal columnist and economist Stephen Moore about Trump's remarks in Davos, and also a crucial alarm all modern men should heed from Suzanne Vanker. You're going to want to hear this. I certainly did.
And did you hear the good news, though? No more tariffs on French wine. Oui, oui. But let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Sunrise in Chicago at 7:30, 25 degrees. The Senate voting along party lines after midnight to approve procedural guidelines for President Trump's impeachment trial. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell crafted those guidelines.
Today, we will consider and pass an organizing resolution that will structure the first phase of the trial.
After that, California Democrat impeachment manager Adam Schiff said McConnell's roadmap was a process for a rigged trial.
Because the documents will inform the decision about which witnesses are most important to call. And when the witnesses are called, the documentary evidence will be available and must be available to question them with.
We're watching another trial developing today. Opening statements are scheduled in the Harvey Weinstein sex crimes trial in Manhattan. Dozens of women have accused the once powerful movie mogul of sexual misconduct, but the New York trial focuses on one hotel rape accusation. Washington State Governor Jay Inslee says there's no need to panic after a Washington man was diagnosed with that coronavirus that's spreading in China. More American troops are getting treatment after Iran's missile strike in Iraq. Defense officials say the service members are heading to a medical facility in Germany under concussion protocol, but didn't specify how many. The Supreme Court says it will not take up a big Obamacare case. The High Court rejecting an emergency plea by Democrats to expedite a review of a lawsuit that threatens the landmark health care law. This likely pushes the case out of the presidential election year. O'Hare's set to begin screening for that deadly coronavirus. Chicago Public Health Commissioner Dr. Allison Arwady made that announcement yesterday. Federal judge siding with the Chicago Public Schools in a 2012 class action lawsuit over allegations of discriminatory layoffs. A Round Lake woman charged in the death of an infant in her home daycare business last year is due in Lake County Court later today. Jane Corzine is facing a charge of involuntary manslaughter. Blackhawks tangled with the Panthers at the UC last night. They rallied from a 3-0 deficit, but just ahead of the All-Star break fell short 4-3 to Florida. Big Ten hoops, Fighting Illini surge past Purdue 79-62. The news is a service of Staples. Staples has a huge selection of ink and toner in stock at low prices. This week, HP Office Jet Pro cartridges are buy one, get one 30% off. Offer ends 1/25/20. Restrictions apply. See store or staples.com/HPBOGO for details. 7:33. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher knows why the impeachment circus started.
The reason behind the whole impeachment hoax, it was just to say he's been impeached for life. Wow.
It's like all they've got.
Well, we're not going to probably get him removed from office. He very well may win this year. Well, but at least we can say he was impeached. Aha! We got that on him.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Nothing speaks louder about an auto dealer than a happy customer. And at Joe Cotton Ford, they have many.
I had a 2001 Excursion, was about 6 months old. We got T-boned, $29,000 worth of damage, bent the frame. After a few months, got it back from you guys, and it actually drove and rode better than when I got it from the factory. Well, service visits are always top-notch. You know, your service department, starting with Dave and going down all your service riders, are just amazing.
Another reason why folks keep coming back to Joe Cotton Ford. Joe Cotton Ford crushes the competition with great deals to kick off the new year. Stop in for huge savings on 2019 Ford F-150s. Be prepared for winter and save $2,000 up to $15,000 on select 2019 F-150 trucks in stock. Joe Cotton Ford, Gary and North Avenue and Carroll Stream, or at joecottonford.com. joecottonford.com. Financing through Ford Credit Financing. Not all buyers will qualify. Restrictions apply. Take new retail delivery from Ford's dealer stock by 2/2/20. See dealer for qualifications and complete details.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Amanda Zanger, owner of Black Industrial and Safety Supply in Hammond, Indiana, and a business customer of Signature Bank. Prior to owning my own business, I worked for a major financial institution. So when it came time to finance the acquisition of Black, I approached a big bank, only to receive a solid no. That's when Signature Bank stepped in. With Signature Bank, the process was different. Signature provided creative financing options that enabled me to purchase Black and continue to grow the business. Thanks to Signature Bank, Black Industrial is able to continue serving Fortune 500 industry fabricators and contractors with tools and safety supplies as we have since 1893.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
7:36, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Jim Telemonte.
Inbound Kennedy, delays start at Canfield. It's 43 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 23 from Montrose, 16 of the Express. Outbound 28 minutes for the airport. Eden's about 21 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. About Eisenhower, 46 minutes, 390 to downtown, outbound 34. Stevenson runs 55 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 34. Ryan is 30 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 27 minutes, I-80 to the Merge, Bishop 420. We see delays on the northbound Tri-State, 87th to 75th. Before the Hinsdale Oasis to Ogden and North Avenue to the Pennsonville Bridge. On Reagan, tollway delays are Farnsworth to Eola, 355 to Highland. Northbound Veterans Memorial heavy, starting around 75th. I'm Jim Calamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Sun this morning. Clouds will be on the increase the entire day. High 34, leading to a little bit of snow overnight and a low of 28. 25 right now. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Retire Chicago. Tune in Saturday mornings at 8 to Retire Chicago with John McNamara of McNamara Capital.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. President Trump, concurrent with his time in Davos,
on his way back already,
has released a new campaign ad that is optimistic, as was his remark, as was his speech in Davos. Very optimistic. The best is yet to come. Best is yet to come.
I think that's a song.
The best is best.
The best
B-I. Wait.
Oh, you're trying to do the acronym.
Bitsy. I don't know if it has the same.
No,
but
Bitco. B-I-T. No, B-I-Y-T.
Y is silent. The Y is going to have to be silent.
Oh, okay.
Because it makes it multisyllabic.
Oh, I hate when you go multisyllabic on me. It's kind of rude.
Well, I'm just trying to think of
like
you got to have hashtags. Like, by the way, did you see the first episode of the new season of Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I haven't.
Honestly, it stays fresh. I love that show, even though it's Larry David's a lib and all that stuff. And he's related to Bernie Sanders.
But they've got to be first cousins. But yeah.
But there's a MAGA hat feature to the season premiere of Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is actually really funny.
I'll watch it this afternoon.
But anyway, I digress to Trump's new web ad.
The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. The time for empty talk is over. Now arrives the hour of action. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. Every decision will be made to benefit American workers and American families. America will start winning again, winning like never before. I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down. Do not allow anyone to tell you that it cannot be done. No challenge can match the heart and fight and spirit of America. We will not fail. Our country will thrive and prosper again. Your voice, your hopes, and your dreams will define our American destiny. When America is united, America is totally unstoppable.
And for more on this and Trump's speech in Davos, we're pleased to be joined by Steve Moore, economist, Wall Street Journal columnist, author of Trumponomics, Inside the America First Plan to Revive Our Economy. I assume you just got back to the Beltway on your private jet from the Swiss retreat, Steve Moore. Steve, thanks for being with us.
Yes, and we spewed a lot of carbon in the atmosphere as well. By the way, did the Trump campaign pay you to play that ad? Or
No, but I mean, I'll tell you, the timing, it's nice to see a synchronization on a campaign. So he's in Davos giving a Hope, Growth, and Opportunity speech about the American economy, the American revival, and then they've got an ad that supports that making its way around the internet. That's an indicia of a well-run campaign. That's good news.
Yeah. Well, a couple things. I mean, I really like Trump's Davos speech. It was basically a little triumphalist, but it was pretty strong. He basically said, "Look, we're the fastest growing economy in the world, which virtually we are of all the major competitor countries in the world. And, if you want to figure out how to do this yourself, do what we're doing. Cut tax rates, deregulate, get government off the back of your businesses." And then what I thought was actually most interesting about the speech, and, my left-wing friends are still hyperventilating about this, is he was very dismissive of the climate change fanaticism that has taken over Europe and so much Asia. And one thing he said that I thought was really interesting, Dan Mamie, was he said, look at the predictions these people have made over the last 25 and 30 years. Virtually every single prediction of apocalypse has been wrong, whether it was, overpopulation, running out of natural resources, we're all going to starve to death because there's not going to be enough food. All of the climate change predictions have been made, have been virtually wrong. The models have been wrong. So why do we keep believing these people? And I don't think I've ever seen an American president make that point, but it was very Julian Simon-esque. Julian Simon, he was my mentor. But these people keep making wrong predictions, and yet we continue to believe them.
Yeah, he called climate activists prophets of doom. And sitting in the middle was Gretchen Thunberg, who looked like she was, throwing daggers with her eyes at him. But he did promise to plant 1 trillion trees. Think that'll make her happy?
Well, this is a really interesting point you made. Look, first of all, our prophets, are apocalyptic about and they've been apocalyptic for 50 years. And by the way, if God, sent down a stone tablet that there's no global warming, they would just run to the next, eco-catastrophe. They just moved from one thing to another. It was nuclear winter, then we're all going to starve to death, overpopulation, running out of energy, blah, 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 blah. There's no stopping with these people. But look, if carbon emissions are a problem for our planet, then the solution is to do things that will, reduce the impact. It's not to shut down energy. I mean, that's the stupidest idea. It's not going to happen. We're not going to deindustrialize the world. You find they have all these, quote, smart, 90% of scientists believe this stuff. Well, why can't they come up with a solution that doesn't involve shutting down our industrial society and our energy sources? And their solution is like, we're going to use windmills to power a $20 trillion economy. I mean, their solutions would just make us poor. And by the way, Dan, have you noticed every single solution to the global warming problem involves more and more heavy-handed?
More and more heavy-handed government. Yes. Well, that's right. The problem with government failures is always that whatever the acting agency wasn't big enough. I mean, that we understand that. We also understand from AOC yesterday around Martin Luther King Day event that she was at that, look, we've got to get the money. I mean, it's basically an update on Bill de Blasio's. We've got plenty of money in this country. It's just in the wrong hands. Very much like Elizabeth Warren talking about the money the rich have that they basically only got by exploiting workers, paying slave-like wages. In some cases, she said, actual slavery. And that's how they have all these ill-gotten gains that are better, that would better reside in the hands of an institution of the public trust like government, and let government commissars like her distribute it accordingly.
Yeah. Look, first of all, why does anybody actually listen to her anymore? I think she's become more and more, crazy over time. But nonetheless, I mean, that's an idea that is not too far distant from, what the presidential candidates are saying. I mean, I did watch the debate last week, and it was all basically it was all doom and gloom, right? It was the planet is burning up, and the middle class is dissolving, and poor people are starving in the streets. I don't know what country they were talking about, but that was the whole rhetoric.
L.A.
And it's all about. By the way, that is blue state America, right? But it is. There's no solutions there. And by the way, there is a distribution of income in America. Dan, I mean, I should have more money.
Sure.
More of your money.
Speaking of money, we're going to save some now if you like French wines, because President Trump reached an agreement with Macron.
Yeah, he won a big victory there. Thank you for bringing that up, Amy. So for those who aren't following this, the French were going to impose a huge tax on American technology companies like Amazon and like Facebook and Google, and this is an illegal tax you're imposing on American tech companies. And he said, if you keep this up, we're not going to buy any of your wine. And boy, did that get the French to take notice, and they backed down.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, my Bordeaux bill would go through the roof if that went on any further, and I just that's a bridge too far for me. It's
And Dan, by the way, I'm not going to let you off the hook. You were not here. I think you were in sunny Mexico or something last week. But,
yeah.
Moore was right.
Wait, what's that?
Dan was wrong about the trade stuff because it looks like Donald Trump has gotten a great trade deal with China, and you said it wasn't going to happen.
No, I didn't say that. I said that's not what I said. And by the way, there's 2 studies out this week, Steve, as you well know, that suggest that the tariffs that were imposed were all paid by U.S. consumers. Just about all. The incremental increase in taxes were paid by U.S. consumers. It wasn't growth positive. Of course it wasn't. It's a tax. My point is the Trump strategy of using the billy club of tariffs to get other countries to do what is in America's interest. In my opinion, that strategy, which I've always said was a risky and dangerous strategy, is working. He got 2 trade deals done last week that are very much in America's interest. Now, I want you to admit you were wrong. Well, no, I'm not going to go quite that far.
Oh, those are fighting words.
Because here's the thing,
like the Kansas State game all over again.
What we've talked about on this show with you is get something resembling a deal done, even if you don't have full confidence in it, because you're dealing with Chinese communists, and get out of this escalation of tariffs. And so, if we can continue to go down the path that Larry Kudlow would lead us, which is, using this cudgel to get to a lower tariff environment for as far as the eye can see, then that'd be great. But I mean, these trade deals, you'll have to admit, on their face, the phase 1, as well as even the USMCA, I mean, these are not like wonderful free market oriented trade deals. These are managed trade deals.
Yeah, and look, this is I think it's a good deal. By the way, Trump got a better deal with China than I thought he would get, and it's absolutely true that China caved in here. I mean, as I always said, I don't know if you have a big brother, but I do, and when my big brothers would beat the crap out of me, and they'd pin me to the floor and say, "Now cry, uncle," and I finally would. Now that's what Trump has done with China. I mean, he hit them hard with these tariffs. They hurt their economy, and they had to basically say, "Okay, take off the tariffs. We will make some concessions." I do not agree with those 2 studies, by the way. I know exactly what studies you're talking about. The full cost of the tariffs were borne by American consumers. That's just basic. That study, both of those, violate the most important rule of economics, which is demand curves are downward sloping. If you make something more expensive, people buy less of it. So when you put a tariff on, and I'm not in favor of tariffs.
People were buying less of it.
Put a tariff and make something more expensive, a Chinese product, people buy less. And that's what was happening. And as a result of that, Chinese factories were moving out of China. They were moving to places like Vietnam and India and Thailand to get it so that they could get around paying those tariffs. So I don't see how they can say 100% of it was borne by American consumers.
Well, there was an exception for steel, but it wasn't much of an exception. And yes, I mean, I don't want to get into a microeconomics debate with you here. But
again, I fully respect you have the Milton Friedman position on trade, and Milton Friedman was the greatest economist since Adam Smith. So I fully respect your position. Milton was in favor of unilateral free trade, that we should not impose tariffs. If other countries want to impose the tariffs on us, it's not in our interest to then not buy their products. And I think it's an interesting debate. But I would say Trump had a really, really good week last week.
I agree.
And I think we'll see. I think the Democrats are flailing. They can't quite figure out what their position is on China, right now. Some of them are saying, he's not tough enough. He's too tough. He's got the Democrats kind of, running around.
I agree on both those counts, that he had a good week, that the Democrats can't figure out up from down on China, just like they can't on Iran for different reasons. and trade generally going back to the Democrats. And look, I'm not hysterical about it because Trump has telegraphed this for 30 years, so I knew what he was going to do. I knew what his posture is. I think this is the one issue where he is more ideological than pragmatic, and so that's fine. I'll endure it so long as we have outcomes like we got last week.
So I think we should have Amy be the referee here. And you're going to have to declare a winner here, Amy. For 2 years, Ann and I have been debating about this.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to go with Dan.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You heard
Dan
her.
wins.
You heard her. I won a decision, unanimous.
No!
Yes.
Sorry, Stephen Moore.
Steve Moore, economist, Wall Street Journal columnist, the book Trumponomics, Inside the America First Plan to Revive Our Economy.
I'm going to be in Will County tomorrow for the Will Lincoln Club dinner. So if anybody wants to come, I don't know if either of you guys are coming, but we're going to celebrate what Donald J. Trump has done to make America great again. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting tired of winning.
All right. Well, we're certainly not tired of winning in Illinois, so we'll be happy to have you. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Transferring paper files to digital used to be complicated and expensive. Data and document capture had many IT layers involved. It was expensive, time-consuming, and labor-intensive. Not anymore, thanks to the Alaris Infuse Smart Connected Scanning Solution from Kodak Alaris and IDT. The Alaris Infuse solution makes data and document capture easy, and it's powered by Capsys Capture Online. Within a matter of minutes, you'll be able to accurately and reliably onboard content with instant notification of data issues, making the entire capture process smarter and more efficient. IDT can show you how to onboard content and make point-of-origin capture simple with the Alaris Infuse solution.
Relieve the burden of managing and maintaining business systems with IDT, helping your business keep pace with the evolution of information production and management. Set up a consultation today. Visit ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Or call 877-SCAN-IDT. IDT, putting paper in its place.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a holistic kind of guy, my whole life. And I just felt like you're supposed to hurt. You're supposed to ache. You're supposed to feel like, you're getting old. But that's not the case. I don't feel that way anymore. It's been because of this product. And the biggest thing is I don't get up to go to the bathroom like I did before. I seem to get a better night's sleep. I really do. I just think, this Balance of Nature just took it to the next level.
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Get ready for the Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Squares Sweepstakes, the largest official game of Super Bowl Squares ever with millions of dollars in prizes. And best of all, it's free to enter. Every score change during Super Bowl 54 pays out $50,000. That's right, touchdowns, field goals, safeties, even extra points. We'll draw one lucky winner from the corresponding square to win $50,000. It could be you! Plus, 2 grand prize winners will win $500,000 they could use toward their dream home. One way to enter, 2 ways to win. See rules and enter now at RocketMortgageSquares.com. Then tune in February 2nd to see if you win. Rocket Mortgage, official mortgage sponsor of Super Bowl 54.
No purchase necessary. 18 years or older except Alabama, Nebraska, and Mississippi. Ends January 30th. Licensed all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. The NFL is not sponsored promotion in any way.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson with a great way to start the new year. Get your best night's sleep ever with a MyPillow and a set of those new Giza cotton sheets from MyPillow. And you can still receive your second set of sheets for free. 2 for 1. And if you add anything else to your order, like MyPillows, mattress toppers, the new MyPillow towels, anything, those items will ship free too. And you can still get deep discounts on all MyPillow products, but you have to use the promo code Amy. I just started sleeping with brand new Giza cotton sheets, and I'm sleeping so much better. Plus, the new MyPillow towels are extremely soft and absorbent. And all products have a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. So go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener special box and get 2 sets of Giza cotton sheets for the price of 1. That's MyPillow.com. Click the radio specials box and enter promo code Amy. Or call 800-489-0201, 800-489-0201. That's MyPillow.com, promo code Amy.
Visit MyPillow.com.
Folks, when shopping for a home mortgage, how much is great service, low closing costs, and competitive interest rates worth to you? At Townstone Financial, it's priceless. Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of Townstone Financial. Let's hear about the Townstone experience from one of our customers.
My name is Melissa, and I bought my first home with Townstone Financial. The owners of the house I bought wanted to close in a very short amount of time. I believe it was 3 weeks. And I was fortunate to have Barry at Townstone did everything for me. And Barry at Townstone explained everything to me, did everything, and then would show me the papers, and I signed them. And that was that. It was the easiest part about closing on the house for me.
Remember, nobody values your home mortgage business more than Townstone. I guarantee it, and I own the company. So call me now, Barry Sterner, at 312-896-2110. That's 312-896-2110. Or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financial is licensed in Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida. NMLS 136639. www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Equal housing lender.
When it's cold outside, you can dress for it. But when your furnace gives out, hey, a blanket fort can only do so much. So call your local 1-Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. We'll replace your old furnace with a new high-efficiency one. And that beats a bunch of blankets any day. Right now, cozy up to big savings on a complete heating system. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1-Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Lafayette Neonatal Associates, PC, is seeking a full-time physician, neonatal medicine, in Lafayette and Valparaiso, Indiana, to provide hospital inpatient services for evaluation and treatment of various neonatal conditions. Contact Nicole Hayes, Office Administrator, 2304 Kossuth Street, Lafayette, Indiana, 47904. That's Nicole Hayes, Office Administrator, 2304 Kossuth Street, Lafayette, Indiana, 47904.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to Thomas Meany, fellow at the Max Planck Society in Germany, contributor to New Yorker, and other outlets about the future of Trumpism after Trump, as well as what impeachment has done to Trump's popularity. That's all at 8:08.
And this might qualify as an animal story. Falling iguanas, watch out in Florida. And later, Dan, this is for you. Furries can't be heroes.
I saw falling iguanas open for fine young cannibals at Poplar Creek.
Good reference.
But don't forget the furry story, okay? They're heroes. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
O'Hare is screening passengers for that deadly coronavirus. Congressman Bobby Rush makes an endorsement in the presidential race. Congressman Kinzinger serving on a mission with the Air National Guard. Bears' Khalil Mack will miss the Pro Bowl. The Panthers beat the Blackhawks and Coach Q last night. Strong second half lifted Illinois over Purdue in Big Ten hoops. Little sun this morning, clouds this afternoon. WIND, Chicago News Time. It's 8 o'clock.
They'll start making the case against President Trump today. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. House impeachment managers get 24 hours over the next 3 days to argue President Trump abused his power and obstructed Congress.
Who has ever heard of a trial with no witnesses?
Hakeem Jeffries is one of those 7 Democrat managers and calls it
the cover-up.
They also got into it with the president's legal team. And at about 1 o'clock this morning, as they sniped, Chief Justice John Roberts stepped in, telling them
to remember that they are addressing the world's greatest deliberative body.
Republican senators voted down the Democratic leaders' attempts to call witnesses and subpoena documents. Senator John Kennedy told Fox and Friends,
if we had granted Senator Schumer's motions, I figure it would have delayed the trial at least until March, maybe April.
Now, they will consider calling witnesses later in the trial. President Trump had a lot to say this morning from Switzerland.
They had no case. It's all a hoax.
Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
President Trump at the World Economic Forum following the impeachment trial from thousands of miles away and praising his lead attorney, White House counsel Pat Cipollone.
I was very impressed with Pat. He had great emotion yesterday. Pat's a brilliant guy, but
I've never seen that emotion, and that's real emotion. That's because he knows this is a hoax.
The president said he'd be opposed to John Bolton, his former national security advisor, testifying because of what he called national security reasons. Dave?
John, the World Health Organization meets today to discuss the coronavirus outbreak, now blamed for 9 deaths in China. More than 400 other people got sick. It's also spread to several other countries, including the U.S. A man's being quarantined in Washington state after a trip to China. He is said to be in good condition. One of the comedians in the Monty Python Flying Circus has died.
Why aren't women allowed to go to stonings, Mum? It's written, that's why.
Terry Jones was in and directed movies like The Life of Brian. He was 77. America's listening to Fox News.
25 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. O'Hare screening for the deadly coronavirus. Chicago's Public Health Commissioner Dr. Allison Arwady says travelers from Wuhan, China will be screened for symptoms of that respiratory virus that has killed at least 9.
There's any concern that they have a cough or a fever, even a low amount of suspicion, we would divert them from their travel and they would be transported securely, not through the general airport, to a hospital.
The CDC began screening some airline passengers last week. Illinois Supreme Court will hear a case today in which a Wooddale teacher claims her maternity leave was denied by her school district after giving birth to her daughter the day before school let out. Teachers at Wooddale Westview Elementary School can take sick leave after the birth of a child in accordance with school code. But the woman claims the Wooddale district did not allow her to take sick leave because her baby was born during summer break. Later, the teacher had another child born during summer break. She says she was denied using sick days again. Both times took unpaid time off to be with her newborns. A special prosecutor has been appointed in the case where a Joliet police officer was charged with driving under the influence in connection with an I-55 crash that killed a Berwyn police officer. Officer Aaron Zilka is scheduled to be arraigned March 18. Chicago sports. Blackhawks fell behind early 3-0, but ended up staging a comeback, falling short 4-3 at the United Center to Florida. Big Ten hoops, Fighting Illini a strong second half and a big win over Purdue in West Lafayette, 79-62. The news a service of Staples with a huge selection of ink and toner in stock at low prices. This week, HP OfficeJet Pro cartridges are buy one, get one 30% off. You'll get more for less at Staples. Offer ends 1/25/20. Restrictions apply. 8:04 time for the AM 560 Business Beat. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Deirdre Bolton, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stock futures are higher on Wall Street following world markets up. Investors seemingly taking a step back from scares about the coronavirus spread and what it would mean, such as pain to tourism revenue probably and other parts of the travel industry. Now, the U.S. is also talking travel. President Trump in Davos, Switzerland, saying he plans to expand the travel ban.
So we have a very strong travel ban, and we'll be adding a few countries to it.
Not giving more details to reporters at the World Economic Forum, though some media reports saying there are 7 countries on the list, and they include Belarus and Sudan. Johnson & Johnson out with earnings showing the drug maker narrowly missed quarterly revenue estimates. British luxury automotive brand Jaguar Land Rover Automotive saying it'll cut 10% of the workforce at its Halewood plant in England. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu. Invested in you.
Business, a service of Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs. A check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Steve Cortez.
One of my favorite books as a junior high student, The Outsiders. Well, when it comes to politics, we in the America First movement, we're the greasers. We're the outsiders. I'm okay with being an outsider. You probably are as well. Being a conservative in Chicago. I'm unafraid of being a Trump advocate on CNN. And I'm unafraid about being a Christian trying to raise a faith-filled family in a world that's often hostile.
The Steve Cortez Show. Weeknights at 5, right before Larry Elder at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
if you have pain, listen up, Dennis Prager here. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. So Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of its side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
It's 8:07. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time in Jim Talamonte.
8094 westbound traffic is jammed. Grant to Indianapolis Boulevard got a crash blocking the right lane. Kennedy inbound delays start at Nagel. It's 50 minutes O'Hare to downtown, quicker in the express lanes. Outbound 30 minutes downtown to the airport. Edens runs 20 minutes Lake Cook to the junction, outbound 27. Inbound Eisenhower, travel time is about 50 minutes from 390 to downtown, outbound 44. Inbound Stevenson, 55 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 35. The Ryan, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State delays are from Southwest Highway to 75th, Plainfield Road to Ogden, and from the Eisenhower to the Grand Avenue Curve, northbound Veterans Memorial, Fountain Toll to the Reagan Tollway, Roosevelt to St. Charles. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Meteorologist Steve Williams.
Some sun to start things off, then increasing cloudiness today, high 34. Tonight, clouds and some snow late, little or no accumulation, low 28. Snow tomorrow morning, followed by some rain in the afternoon, the high at 34. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
24 at O'Hare. Next news 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And one of the important summations in yesterday's competing oral arguments from the two sides in the impeachment trial came from Pat Cipollone, White House counsel, when he addressed this statement that has been made by the House managers during opening arguments, but also by House Democrats, amplified by the Beltway Press Corps for many months now, which is that the evidence is overwhelming. It's very much what they like to do when it comes to debates. End them. The debate is over. It's settled. We're not going to hear any countervailing opinions. And now we just move on to institute whatever punishment under the guise of reform we deem appropriate and try to whipsaw people into acquiescence. Pat Cipollone wasn't having the overwhelming description to the case being presented by Adam Schiff and company.
We hear all this talk about an overwhelming case that they're not even prepared today to stand up and make an opening argument about. That's because they have no case. Frankly, they have no charge. When you look at these articles of impeachment, they're not only ridiculous, they are dangerous to our republic. And why? First of all, the notion that invoking your constitutional rights to protect the executive branch, that's been done by just about every president since George Washington, that is obstruction. That is our patriotic duty, Mr. Schiff, particularly when confronted with a wholesale trampling of constitutional rights that I'm unfamiliar with in this country. Frankly, it's the kind of thing that our State Department would criticize if we see it in foreign countries. We've never seen anything like it.
For more on this, as well as what form Trumpism may take after President Trump, we're pleased to be joined by Thomas Meany, who is a fellow at the Max Planck Society in Germany. He's a contributor to New Yorker Magazine, London Review of Books, and Le Monde Diplomatique, and he has written on both of the topics I just mentioned. Thomas Meany, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
So is what Pat Cipollone saying there, is that maybe one of the reasons, as you write at The Guardian, why all impeachment is done is to make Trump more popular than he was prior to impeachment? Because certainly his base has been with him since the outset, so he must be generating at least converts of convenience through this process.
Yeah, I mean, I basically approach the impeachment in a practical manner. I mean, I consider myself an enemy of Donald Trump, but at the same time, I think that almost every post-war president has committed impeachable acts, and I think that one needs to carefully choose one's battles. Impeachment is always a political act. It's always been one, and it is right now. And I just don't think that it's a particularly wise move to try to remove Trump by impeachment and to also attack him on the territory in which he's one of the most skilled fighters in American politics, on television. So I just don't think it's a particularly wise move. So my advice for the Democrats was to either just try to do it as quickly as possible and get it done with as fast as you can, or just not even do it. I would have much preferred Trump to be impeached on other grounds, like the Iran strike or something like that. But this just doesn't seem to me a particularly wise move of the Democrats to make.
You compared Nancy Pelosi to Theresa May in this process, that both were sort of captive to events beyond their control, putting them in positions they didn't want to be in. Obviously, May with respect to Brexit and Pelosi with respect to this.
That's right. I think that I am no fan of Nancy Pelosi, but one must acknowledge that she's an experienced politician. And you could sense in her early response to the impeachment inquiries that she knew that this was not going to be a very profitable road to go down. And I think that it would have been probably wise to yield to her instincts on this matter. By the way, the best book about impeachment that I've come across lately is by your fellow Chicagoan of yours, Richard Posner, the conservative judge, who wrote a wonderful book about the Clinton impeachment. And so many people on the left, like me, we welcome impeachment because we think it's going to weaken the imperial presidency or so forth. But it turns out that the Clinton impeachment also helped Clinton. So there's been a history of impeachments. Basically, the American people have a connection to the presidency, and they don't like seeing presidents removed who they voted for. And so my view is that attack Trump in the Democratic arena of the election in November, and focus all of your energies on that, rather than trying to remove him by legal means, which everyone agrees will not happen and will not work.
Yeah,
so it's purely pointless.
They're trying to remove his name from the ballot in 2020. But you just said earlier that you're an enemy of President Trump. Can you tell me why?
I think that mainly because I think that Trump has sort of betrayed many of the people that he planned on, that voted for him. I think that the elites have done fine under Trump, and sort of elite suburban voters have done fine under Trump. But the working class people that voted for him, who expected to, have fewer military engagements abroad, that's not happened. Who've expected to have more services and help, whether it be in their paying less taxes or whatever, has not happened for sort of the working class people of America. So I think that when it comes to working class people, they haven't done particularly well, and that's, I'd say, one of the main reasons about it. I'm not that interested in the usual liberal arguments about Trump being a norm breaker and stuff. I think that your show has been very acute, and I agree with the commentary that suggests that Trump is actually much more of a normal Republican than many liberals seem to be able to understand. I don't think that he's a major aberration. I don't think that he's a particularly strange character.
Yeah, I mean, it's personality and not so much policy. Although there are certainly policy disagreements, of course. But I mean,
sure.
But I mean, so his remarks in Davos on Monday, where he spoke of the blue collar boom that's going on. I mean, we have the data. We know that incomes are up about $5,000 real dollars for the median household income in this country. That's pretty good, and wages at the lower end are rising faster than wages at the higher end of the socioeconomic distribution. So, I mean, there seems to be actually some relative optimism by the supermajority of American voters about the economy at present and looking forward, and that was sort of the optimistic note that Trump struck in Davos.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think that there's no question that the American economy is booming in a way, but it just depends sort of where you are there. I mean, if you have money in the S&P 500 or in the stock market, you're doing very well. You've had a tremendous return these past couple of years. But if you're a nurse in West Virginia, or you're a teacher in California or something like that, those are the people that seem to be collecting around Sanders. And I think that they're voting. I think that they're with a lot of, and it makes a lot of sense to me. So I wouldn't deny that that the stock market has done very, very well under Trump. And I think that Trump has always understood two things very well. He's understood that he needs to support the stock market, and he's also understood that he needs to be very careful about the judiciary and not to antagonize sort of mainstream Republicans about the judiciary. So I think that I think that there is a bit of method to what is sometimes perceived by liberals as his madness.
Would you agree with observers like Selena Zito that there's a bit of a realignment going on in American politics, and you have basically the elites and the wealthy and disproportionately the college educated that are moving left, and actually those that have been traditionally the lower quintiles, working class people, middle income people, particularly those without a college degree, that are moving right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just the past 2 weeks have been really fascinating because I think a lot of mist is cleared in the past few weeks, and it's become clear to me at least is that, and this is where some of these national conservative guys are interesting, is that the war in America is in the top 10%. It's not, the top 1%, who knows what they vote for, but the top 10%, it's where do those voters go? Some of them go for Trump, but increasingly they're collecting around Warren, And I think it's become clear in the past few weeks that Warren is a bit more of a Clintonite, part two, than many initially anticipated, and you can see it a little bit in her war against her, this open flank that she's now started against Sanders, right? And I think that Sanders is a very unique character that only kind of comes around once every 50 years in American politics, a sort of a genuine, actual revolutionary. I think that the real interesting thing will be to watch, what the liberal elite do. Do they? I can't really see them fully getting behind Sanders, but if Sanders somehow pulls out the nomination, then they kind of have to vote for him, unless they want to give up all their cultural values. So that's going to be the interesting thing. And you can see it, just the other day, right, with Clinton kind of now opening a front against Hillary Clinton opening a front against Sanders as well. They're very terrified of Sanders, I think.
There's a piece by Walter Russell Mead in the Journal about Davos, and this sort of dovetails into our conversation. He writes about those that were present at that Swiss resort. As the millionaires and billionaires and Greta assemble in Davos this week to debate the future of the world, they face a crisis of relevance. What if, with all their competence, experience, cosmopolitan vision, and yes, goodwill, the Davosee are merely passengers, comfortably ensconced in first-class seats, but on a train whose route they do not know and cannot control? Is that what's happening in elite circles, a crisis of relevance?
Well, I don't think that elites are relevant. I think that elites are very relevant. I think that what elites do with their money, what elites do in politics is very important. I think that Davos has always been a giant sort of washing machine, to launder the morality of the sort of globalization faithful. It's basically just been a kind of large advertising campaign, to make globalization seem a little bit better than it is, which, many people have seen through. But when it comes to climate change, though, I mean, I'm very opposed to Trump's sort of dismissal of that as a problem, So I think that it's a little bit beneath him to be, picking on a, Swedish high school student.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure he's picking on her, and the question about who's picking that fight, who's trying to elevate Greta and use her as a front for their interests. I mean, that's a topic we'll get into another time, because I wanted to get to the piece that you wrote for Harper's about Trumpism after Trump. And I wonder whether that's in 2021 or 2025, what you think that looks like, and particularly as it pertains to the left, where all of that populist energy that's mainly behind Bernie, to some extent Warren, where you think that goes when Bernie exits the scene?
Look, I think that that's a great question. I mean, I think, when it comes to Trump, you can already see that the Ancien Regime in the Republican Party, which in many ways is happy with Trump, I mean, McConnell and these other guys, they know that Trump does this amazing thing for them. I mean, he does manage to somehow keep the American capitalist elite class pretty happy with their stock market returns and so forth, but he also manages to sort of bring in this working class vote, which is kind of harder and harder for the Republicans to access. So Trump manages a very complicated, very difficult acrobatic feat, which I think that the Republicans are grateful for. But then you see people like Mitt Romney, who's starting to sound increasingly like Warren. He sounds like the Financial Times op-ed page when he says, well, maybe we should, increase sort of capital gains taxes. Maybe we should sort of try to get this populist, mob off of our backs by giving in a little bit, So I think that something's going on there. But your really interesting question is, what happens to this energy in the left? Because there's a lot of energy behind Bernie and, as you say, some behind Warren. Now, my concern is that, Bernie is going to exit the stage at some point, whether he becomes president or not, or whether he wins the nomination or not. And for me, the question is, who becomes the next standard bearer of the American left? Is it a sort of woke leftist candidate, or is it a sort of non-woke leftist? So I consider Bernie to be less of a woke candidate, much more of an old school materialist leftist. Bernie comes out of an old interwar movement that fought against Tsarism, Nazism, Jim Crow. That's kind of his movement. Warren comes out of sort of 1980s careerism, a much thinner sort of background in movement politics. And she's much more woke than him. She's much more interested in identity politics in the crudest sense of the term. And so my concern is, who takes over the American left? And I suspect that if it's a woke, hardcore, MSNBC type woke left person, then the movement will be destroyed.
Interesting. This is a fun conversation. I hope we can do this again, because obviously we don't agree on a lot of things, but some of the analysis we actually do agree on, and it's really interesting to dig deep on this stuff. Thomas Meany, he's a fellow at the Max Planck Society in Germany. He's a contributor to New Yorker, London Review of Books, Le Monde Diplomatique, and we will tweet out at Dan Prof some of the pieces that we've been talking about. Thomas Meany, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. Okay.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare contracts, and in the process started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. I guarantee if we can't cancel your timeshare contract, you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100. 800-290-7100.
Get ready for the Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Squares Sweepstakes, the largest official game of Super Bowl Squares ever, with millions of dollars in prizes. And best of all, it's free to enter. Every score change during Super Bowl 54 pays out $50,000. That's right, touchdowns, field goals, safeties, even extra points. We'll draw one lucky winner from the corresponding square to win $50,000. It could be you! Plus, 2 grand prize winners will win $500,000 they could use toward their dream home. One way to enter, 2 ways to win. See rules and enter now at RocketMortgageSquares.com. Then tune in February 2nd to see if you win. Rocket Mortgage, official mortgage sponsor of Super Bowl 54.
No purchase necessary. 18 years or older, except Alabama, Nebraska, and Mississippi. Ends January 30th. Licensed all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. The NFL is not sponsored promotion in any way.
You know, I'm doing it right now, taking my Balance of Nature, took the veggie caps now, just dissolving 3 fruits and veggie caps in the water. It's something that Dr. Ken Howard told me about because it helps coat your throat if you have a sore throat and helps boost your immune system because, face it, we're not getting enough fruits and veggies on our own. And that's where Balance of Nature comes in. 6 capsules a day. With that, you're getting 10 servings of 31 fruits and veggies. And really, this time of year, you do not want to mess around. You do not want to get the cold, and you definitely do not want to get the flu. And the best way to prevent that, but besides washing your hands and not touching your face, is to boost your immune system by eating healthy. Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself and make 2020 a year of better choices and better health choices for yourself. And right now, Balance of Nature offering free shipping and 35% off your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. So start your journey to better health today. Make a commitment to yourself. Call 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or simply go to balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago. Hi, this is Amy Jacobson to talk about my incredible experience with Online Trading Academy. I signed up for my own free class, and you can too. You'll be introduced to skills to take control of your financial future. You'll learn the right moves to make when the economy turns and how to spend less time worrying about life and more time living it. You know, no one else will ever care about your financial future as much as you do. It's time for you to start learning how to invest in you. Seats are limited. Just call 844-778-7132 to attend and get 2 free passes to their next class so you can check this all out. And if you call right now, they will send you home with their Professionals Insider Kit. It's loaded with exclusive investing courses and some of their best lessons from the pros. This is a limited opportunity and seats go quickly, so call 844-778-7132. That's 844-778-7132, or visit them online at otaclass.com, otaclass.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Adam Schiff wants his witnesses and says that the president shouldn't get his witnesses at 8:38.
And remember the coyote that bit that 5-year-old kid in the head? Well, guess what? He gets to live. We'll explain. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Partly sunny skies. We're headed toward a cloudy afternoon and some snow overnight. 25 degrees at 8:30. The CDC confirming the first U.S. case of Wuhan coronavirus. CDC says the patient is a U.S. citizen in his 30s from Washington State who had visited central China where 9 deaths have been confirmed. Thousands this morning say they felt last night's earthquake north of Los Angeles, felt from the Inland Empire to Oxnard as south as Anaheim. L.A. police say no immediate reports of damage or injuries. President Trump had plenty to say about his impeachment trial during an unscheduled press conference in Davos, Switzerland, where he's attending the World Economic Forum.
But this is the greatest witch hunt. This started from the day I came down with the future First Lady. The day we came down the escalator, this started.
The president due to head back to the U.S. today as senators move into day 2 of what is only the 3rd Senate impeachment trial in the nation's history. A man is in critical condition following a shooting that led to a police crash that ended up with another crash on Chicago's north side. A man was shot last night in the 3300 block of West Armitage. Officers chased down that vehicle and shots were fired at police during the pursuit. That ended with another crash near Western and Montrose. A special prosecutor has been appointed in a case where a Joliet police officer was charged with driving under the influence in connection with a crash on I-55 that killed a Berwyn police officer. Officer Aaron Zilka is scheduled to be arraigned on March 18. Illinois Congressman Adam Kinzinger, currently serving as a lieutenant colonel with the Air National Guard. Congressman was sent on missions yesterday in the U.S. Tweet also saying from his office that the congressman will keep updated while he's away. Blackhawks tangled with the Panthers at the UC last night, but also tangled with their emotions as fans roared their approval for the return of the stash. Joel Quenneville made his return to Chicago as coach of the Florida Panthers after winning 3 Stanley Cups with the Blackhawks, and Q was given a 2-minute video tribute.
It was kind of like, saying thank you to me, and I was thanking them, and it was, it was all good. So it was felt great, and it was made a little interesting at the end of the game, but that was certainly a memorable event that I'm thankful for.
Blackhawks rallied from 3-0 down, but still fell to the Panthers 4-3 at the United Center. 22nd ranked Illinois, a strong second half and a win on the road over Purdue 79-62 last night. The news service of CVS, because when you're feeling under the weather, the last thing you want to do is hike to the pharmacy. So let CVS deliver your prescriptions. Visit cvs.com/delivery for details and treat yourself well at CVS. 8:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher knows why the impeachment circus started.
The reason behind the whole impeachment hoax, it was just to say he's been impeached for life. Wow.
It's like all they've got.
Well, we're not going to probably get him removed from office. He very well may win this year. Well, but at least we can say he was impeached. Aha! We got that on him.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson with a great way to start the new year. Get your best night's sleep ever with a MyPillow and a set of those new Giza cotton sheets from MyPillow. And you can still receive your second set of sheets for free. 2 for 1. And if you add anything else to your order, like MyPillows, mattress toppers, the new MyPillow towels, anything, those items will ship free too. And you can still get deep discounts on all MyPillow products, but you have to use the promo code Amy. You know, I just started sleeping with brand new Giza cotton sheets, and I'm sleeping so much better. Plus, the new MyPillow towels are extremely soft and absorbent. And all products have a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. So go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener special box and get 2 sets of Giza cotton sheets for the price of 1. That's MyPillow.com. Click the radio specials box and enter promo code Amy. Or call 800-489-0201, 800-489-0201. That's MyPillow.com, promo code Amy.
Visit MyPillow.com.
Balance of nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
It's been extremely helpful, I'll tell you that. And when I hear the different stories on the radio and so forth, which is what started me on it myself, I know it's real because people's stories are very, they're saying the same thing. Oh, I didn't know, I didn't believe, I didn't, and then when I started it, it changed my life. So in a very good way. It doesn't cure, it does builds my immune system and helps me live a little bit healthier life. That's the bottom line.
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Get the best sleep of your life. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their holiday sale.
8:36, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, and Jim Telemonte.
Inbound Kennedy, delays start at Nagel. It's 50 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 30 from Montrose, 23 in the Express. Edens, it's 19 minutes Lake Cook to the junction. Eisenhower, drive time is about 56 minutes, 390 to downtown. 43 from Wolf. Stevenson runs 54 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 38 minutes from 95th. Southbound Lakeshore Drive is heavy from Lawrence to the Oak Street curve, and northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Northbound Tri-State delays are 95th to 75th. Plainfield Road to Ogden and St. Charles to the Grand Avenue curve. It's about Adams Tollway, it's tight 59 to Barrington and Roselle to Meacham. Reagan Tollway 59 to 53, and the northbound Veterans Memorial 75th to Ogden and the Army Trail Toll 290. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1 hour heating and air conditioning weather center. A little sun this morning, clouds on the increase throughout the day, high 34. A little late night snow, a low of 28. Currently 24. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and it's before we get into impeachment trial again. Responding to our conversation with our last guest, Thomas Media, Jerry and Addison, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. What I found striking and interesting is that your past guest kept alluding how the rich were the only ones who are benefiting from this economy. And he forgets that a lot of the pension plans are heavily invested in the stock market. When Trump came into office, you had about a $16,000, $17,000 Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now that had almost doubled. So obviously, all the individuals that get their pension funds through union plans or whatever have benefited tremendously from that.
No question. Thanks for the call, Jerry. A rising market lifts all boats that are in it, including those public sector pension funds and 401ks, and it includes a lot of middle-income families. Yeah. No, there's no question about that. That's right. So, as I said, we have somebody who's differs from you ideologically. He's coming from a different place. You don't want to go off on every tangent, so I didn't. But it's still useful because people need to hear the thinking of the other side to continue doing some of your own. I mean, understand the full blossom of where they're coming from, not just sort of how it gets translated into snippets that are repeated by lobotomized politicians on cable news networks. It's just a different thing, and we try to do different things here. Speaking of a different thing, this idea of witnesses, this continues to be an interesting political thought exercise. I have been opposed to it. I think it's in Trump's benefit to have this wound up as quickly as possible, ideally before the State of the Union speech, so he can turn the page when he takes to the podium to deliver that speech in early February. But the Wall Street Journal editorial board does present a provocative counterargument. They start by saying, look, it's more than a little disingenuous for House Democrats to be demanding the Senate call these witnesses they want to call, John Bolton, Mick Mulvaney, so forth. They point out House Democrats could have gone to court to challenge Trump's assertion of executive privilege. They initially did sue former Bolton Deputy Charles Kupperman, but Democrats abandoned their demands when the litigation didn't fit their rushed political timeline. And they also point out, that's worth noting, where they say, we wouldn't mind hearing from Trump, but even if, hearing from Bolton, but even if Bolton does appear, he still has to abide Trump's claims of executive privilege. The president doesn't give up that privilege at an impeachment trial. So it's not like it's going to be, Bolton unplugged, number one. They go to say that Democrats don't really want witnesses. This is all posturing and trying to bait Republicans. They figure Republicans will vote down witnesses, then they can run from here to November claiming the trial was rigged and hid the truth, just as you heard them claiming in their opening statements yesterday. Big cover-up. If you vote against witnesses, it's a big cover-up. Mm-hmm. So what about trying to jujitsu their jujitsu and call the witnesses and have the full-on circus to put them in a position they otherwise don't want to be in if this insight of the Journal editorial boards is correct? And I think it is. I don't think they're really spoiling for witnesses either. I think they're spoiling for an argument in lieu of a case.
Yeah, and then the impeachment trial is really going to hurt that weak Democratic field that's out there. Because keep in mind, they have to work Saturdays. They're working this Saturday and next Saturday. And that's just one more day off the campaign trail before the very important Iowa caucuses.
Well, if you moved against what the Democrats think you're going to do on witnesses, then you're talking about weeks.
I know.
You're talking about into Super Tuesday.
Into Super Tuesday, and they're not going to let that happen.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. Call their bluff on this.
And Adam Schiff on CBS News with Norah O'Donnell, he and the other House managers on witnesses and, the prospect of those like Hunter Biden being called by the president.
Presumably you would want to call John Bolton, but are you prepared then for who the Republicans want to call as witnesses? Would that be fair?
It would certainly be fair for the president and his team to be able to call witnesses that can provide material information on the charges. It would not be appropriate for the president to seek to call witnesses merely to try to perpetuate the same smear campaign that was foiled when his plot was discovered.
As the Journal responds to that contention, it's directly relevant to your charge, Schiff, and the Democrats' charge that Trump acted with a corrupt motive when he asked for an investigation of Hunter Biden's Ukraine activities. The White House says Trump was legitimately worried about corruption, including whether Ukraine turned a blind eye to natural gas company Burisma, which had Hunter on its board. If the Senate calls more witnesses, let's hear both sides of that dispute. Hunter can explain what he told his father about his business in Ukraine. Joe can explain the ethical wisdom of firing a Ukrainian prosecutor who was investigating Burisma. There's also former Obama energy czar Amos Hochstein, who raised concerns with Joe Biden and his aides about Hunter's Ukrainian ties. And let's hear from Chris Hines, former Secretary of State John Kerry's stepson, who broke business ties with Hunter because his Burisma work was unacceptable, quote unquote. This would be a spectacle, the Journal argues, and our guess is that Democrats really don't want to hear more witnesses. They merely want to pretend they do, get Republicans to vote against witnesses, and use this as an issue in November. Perhaps Republicans should call them on it. Should Republicans call them on it? Any reconsideration of the notion of moving this along with all due speed? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
What do you think? What do you want?
The Journal makes, as I said, a provocative case. I think that Biden as a witness, either of the Bidens, from what I saw with from Hunter on that ABC News interview,
would be a disaster.
And I think
witness stand.
I think Joe Biden would be a disaster too.
Yep, they both would be.
And what you would have, not just Joe Biden having to answer the questions or being faced with the questions that the Wall Street Journal is telegraphing about Burisma and about his dealings as vice president there and putting the squeeze on the Ukrainians to fire the prosecutor, withholding, to borrow a phrase, $1 billion in loan guarantees and so forth. You also have this against the backdrop of the whole Peter Schweitzer book and the self-dealing of the rest of the Biden family flying in formation with old Scranton Joe during his time as vice president. And even if those questions would be thrown out as not relevant, not probative, you still would have that discussion happening. It's just sort of layering on the brand of Biden being just another insider who used his position for self-enrichment, whether it's family members or him directly. It's the same deal. I think it would probably be devastating to Biden. So in one respect, I don't want that to happen because as I have said from the outset, I think Biden is the weakest candidate the Democrats can nominate. The flip side of that is if the entire Democrat Party was exposed along these lines, then you're talking about maybe moving the needle enough to put taking back control of the House legitimately in play. I think it's still a reach at this point. You still have Democrats in Congress with about a 6-point generic ballot advantage. So there's some attrition that has to occur or some move up that has to occur for Republican candidates. Maybe this would do that, but it's not without risk, right? I mean, you still don't know exactly what Bolton is going to say, even with the caveat of he would still be prohibited from talking about things deemed the product of executive privilege, according to the president. Mulvaney, others. And I mean, and still you don't know how the witnesses you would like to call, from the so-called whistleblower to Team Biden to other Obama-era apparatchiks. You don't know how they would perform either. You don't know how. You just don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions, imponderables, because these people haven't been spoken with except in the most surface way. And so, as Trey Gowdy, an experienced litigator, said at the outset, get this over with quickly, let them present their cases, then vote your shares, because you don't like to go into trials with unanswered questions. Lawyers are not supposed to be asking questions at trial that they don't know the answers to.
Nobody likes surprises.
So, I think it's tough. It's really attractive, the argument that the Wall Street Journal lays out about what could be. But I think that maybe risk aversion is the order of the day here with respect to the president and even with respect to congressional Republicans. And you stay the course, and barring something very interesting happening in the questioning by senators, because you already know after yesterday what the opening arguments are going to be, more or less. Barring something very interesting happening, I think you stand to your position that clearly Mitch McConnell has indicated is his position and is the Senate Republicans caucus position at this point, which is no witnesses. That's my thought. What's yours? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Tim in Schaumburg.
Hey, I think the Democrats have their talking points for the upcoming election and the future, but if they're going to go down the calling witnesses probe or path, I think the Republicans better be willing to chase those rabbit holes if they're open, and not just call these witnesses, ask them a few questions, let them go. It's just going to raise a lot of more questions that we need to chase down.
You mean, so like if they were to call Team Biden as witnesses, and that whatever Hunter and Joe have to say about Burisma, or Joe has to say about his dealings on behalf of the Obama administration, anything new or anything that runs counter to things that have been said prior, that needs to be chased down and closed, and those loops need to be closed. Those loose ends need to be tied up.
Exactly, because they've made so many public accounts for what's happened. They're caught.
Thanks for the call, Tim. All right. Dave and Niles.
Great show again, Dan and Amy. What they need to do is take the win. You take the win. You go in a motion to dismiss, you get that done, but then you immediately open up a Senate investigation into the Bidens, into the Ukraine, into that dismissal of the prosecutor, et cetera, and go with it from there without this hanging over the president's head.
All right. Thanks for the call, Dave. Tom on the South Side.
Yeah, I think they ought to go scorched earth. Democrats have their talking points. The sycophants in the media are going to say, cover up, justice was blocked until the election. Call Hunter Biden. Call Joe Biden. Let them stumble around. Call Skolkin. Just call them all. Let them go. They have executive privilege. And I don't think Bolton's going to ruin his lifelong legacy by throwing Trump under the bus.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Bob Eubanks. Do me a favor. Don't treat this as a commercial. I want you to treat this as a conversation between two friends, you and me. Now look, if you owe the IRS $10,000 or more, I'm sure you're stressed out. But I've got a solution for you. You see, my friends at the Tax Defense Group can help. This is a family-run business. They do it the old-fashioned way. They put you first, and they never charge a big upfront fee. Now, I've seen them settle for a fraction of what is owed. These are honest, experienced experts who really know how to get it done.
The IRS is relentless, so call now for a free tax account review. And remember, there's never a huge upfront fee. Call 855-TAX-BILL. 855-TAX-BILL. That's 855-829-2455. 855-829-2455.
If you've got a tax bill that you can't pay, get help. Get help. Get help. The Tax Defense Group way.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
It's been extremely helpful, I'll tell you that. And when I hear the different stories on the radio and so forth, which is what started me on it myself, I know it's real because people's stories are very, they're saying the same thing. Oh, I didn't know, I didn't believe, I didn't, and then when I started it, it changed my life. So in a very good way. It doesn't cure, it just builds my immune system and helps me live a little bit healthier life. That's the bottom line.
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com and make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Attention maintenance coordinators. If you manage an industrial facility, then you know how critical it is to manage a consistent maintenance staff. During outages, when you're shorthanded, Vans has your back.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. Whether you need one person for 8 hours or a large crew for a month, we can supplement your maintenance team. Our personnel are trained mechanics familiar with all material handling processes. Our expertise extends to fabricating, sheet metal, millwright, and ironwork jobs. Our men can work alongside your repairmen, or we can provide an entire crew complete with equipment depending on your requirements.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest level, to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND to schedule your maintenance team. That's 833-VANS-IND. Or visit vansindustrial.com. That's VANSindustrial.com. Vans Industrial, working safe since 1964.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Tom Goleb, Chief Financial Officer of Navitas Systems, a leader in the next generation of advanced battery technology and a customer of Signature Bank. A few years ago, I heard Signature Bank on an AM 560 radio ad, just as our previous commercial bank was being acquired. I knew Mick O'Rourke and Kevin Bastuga from a prior enterprise. I valued my relationship with them and the way they worked earned my trust and my business. So I decided to give Signature Bank a call. They took the time to understand our early-stage technology company that has its own set of challenges. Signature Bank took care of us, and now we are satisfied customers.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, I'm Dave Nissen, Managing Partner at Mueller CPA. For over 50 years, we have been honored to offer accounting, business, and financial advisory services to our valued clients. We also provide guidance to our clients to help them manage their success and wealth they have earned. We do that by offering retirement investment planning, estate planning, business planning, and insurance. Whether you are a business owner interested in investment strategies or business succession, or a young professional wondering what you need to do today to be financially prepared for tomorrow, it is never too late or early to start. Our team of dedicated professionals are passionate about helping you pursue your goals by educating and inspiring you to make wise financial decisions for yourself, your family, and your business. If you're interested in learning more, call me direct at 630-524-5274 or visit our website at MuellerCPA.com. That's MuellerCPA.com.
When it's cold outside, you can dress for it. But when your furnace gives out, hey, a blanket fort can only do so much. So call your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. We'll replace your old furnace with a new high-efficiency one. And that beats a bunch of blankets any day. Right now, cozy up to big savings on a complete heating system. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available. For information, visit Illinois Concealed Carry Training online at icct.us. That's icct.us.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, they can be heroes. Talking about furries. I don't know if you know, but the furry convention, FurCon they call it, was taking place on over the weekend in San Jose, California.
San Jose this year. Okay.
Yeah, you're familiar. Remember when they had the one here in Chicago, or by O'Hare Airport, and there was a fire, and all these furries ran out into the street because somebody pressed the fire alarm?
Why don't you tell people what a furry is, for those who are not familiar with alternative lifestyles?
Well, this is, it's a subculture. Like, people go to Comic-Con and they dress up as their favorite character. Furries are people that they're kind of like mascot costumes. They're furries. They wear suits. And after what they call suiting all day, they decided Friday night to enjoy the fresh air in San Jose and take off, keep their fur costumes on, take off the hats or the, whatever you call it, the lids of their uniforms. And they're out, this group of 5 furries were out drinking. And this woman came by in the middle of the street, stopped, and she was screaming, "Help, get out, get out." And she was yelling at her male passenger who was punching her. He was beating her up in the face. So the furries...
Chris Brown lives in San Jose.
The furries ran over, opened up the passenger door, and the pink dinosaur wrestled the subject to the head and was holding the shoulders down while the massive tail bobbed in the wake. And this is on video. Then a tiger knelt to restrain the man from the torso as a platform-heeled cowboy helped out as well. Police were called. They arrived. They didn't know that the heroes were furries, so they were a little taken back.
They thought they could have been the assailants, like a clown attack in Real Men.
Look at the pink dinosaur. And she's and it's a woman taking down a man. I love it.
Yeah.
And the 22-year-old, he was charged with domestic violence, and the furry slowly dispersed after giving police statements.
Sure.
But
gives me a whole new attitude about furries now.
And you have a furry story because you were in Pittsburgh when they had FurCon.
Well, I was in Pittsburgh the week after they had FurCon a few years ago, and my Uber driver, who knew the manager of the hotel that I was staying in, which is the hotel they were staying in, told me a story from her friend, the manager, about how they had some of these furries that would literally put litter
Cat litter
in the dresser drawers.
Yeah.
And went to the bathroom in the dresser drawers like a cat.
That's so gross.
So now I'm really of two minds with these furries. On the one hand, I don't like adults who relieve themselves on furniture that I may also be using at the same.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I do appreciate them rallying to the defense of that woman. Boy,
God bless those furries.
I have to think about that.
Thanks so much for making us part of your morning. Thanks to Justin Kosick, our technical producer, and Quinn McCarthy, who is, a pink dinosaur, a cowboy, or a tiger?
Part of Trump's legal defense team.
We're back here bright and early at 5 a.m. Have a glorious day. Now here is Mike Scott.
A federal judge tosses a CTU lawsuit against CPS over layoffs. Congressman Kinzinger serving on a mission with the Air National Guard, O'Hare screening passengers for a deadly coronavirus. Bears Khalil Mack will miss the Pro Bowl. Panthers beat the Blackhawks, and a strong second half gave the Fighting Illini a win over Purdue. WIND Chicago News Time is 9 o'clock.
The House Democrats will start prosecuting their case